Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for the delays, but welcome to the StarCraft Evolution League number 3, your bi-weekly dose of SC Evo Mod content. StarCraft Tournament. Of course, I'm here as VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in the chat, and by my plushies. As always, welcome everyone, welcome. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the pack yourselves. I do apologize for the delayed start, but we are here and we have begun, and we're jumping into game number 1 and spawning in the top right hand corner of Sylphoid. We have the orange Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands. It is Boanan for Platinum Esports, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner we have as opponent, we have the green Zerg player for 3D Clan. It is GG Machine. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series, on who you think will advance on into the next round. Will it be our Protoss, will it be our Zerg? Bearing in mind that, of course, we have some interesting variations going on here. The way this mod works, of course, welcome one, welcome all. This is not your typical SE2 game. First things first, 3-player spawn. We see Boanan is scouting, looking for the expansion, sends out 2 probes, and he's coming for the cannon rush. Of course, Boanan is playing SE2 Protoss. Meanwhile, GG Machine is playing Brood War Zerg. Oh boy. And we'll see if he can pull off the defense. Overlord is not quite in position to scout the initial cannon rush, but I'm sure he's aware of what's going on. Boanan, of course, has a big reputation for cannon rushing. Speaking of, pylon is done, cannons are on the way, and now GG Machine. Oh, Gateway's on the way to wall off, I should emphasize. Second probe has arrived, cannons are underway, and it's going to be on GG Machine here to try and pull off a defense. Can he pull off the defense? That's a better question here, especially considering that he has limited tools available to him, or very different tools. There we go. Is forced to cancel the expansion, forced to expand elsewhere. Meanwhile, the spawning pool is about to finish up. He can get into his own ling speed, into his own spine crawler production, I should say, sunken colony production, and we'll see how Boanan does transition from here. The gateway is almost done, and the proxy is under full swing. Meanwhile, the drone is being sent across the map instead. Interesting choice. But again, very quickly going over it. Welcome to SC Evo. This is a mod that brings together StarCraft 2 and Brood War. And the way this works is that players, in a way, alternate. I should emphasize that game after game, so game 1, one player is able to dictate and choose which race they're going to be playing. Game 2, they pick as well, or the opposing player picks, and it is stuck on SE2 versus Brood War. We never have StarCraft 2 races versus StarCraft 2 races, or Brood War races versus Brood War races. This mod is not balanced in that way. Link speed is on the way. Meanwhile, macro hatchery as well. The drone that's being sent out across the map, GG Machine going for a ninja expansion. I mentioned at the start of the game, this map is a 3-player spawn map. This is a feature that has long since been forgotten in SE2. It's been a very long time since I think the last 3-player map was Catalina. What was that, like back in 2018, as Boanan is going for his own natural. We'll be taking the natural base of GG Machine. Meanwhile, GG Machine taking the ninja base across the map. Here we go. Meanwhile, sunken colonies are now finishing up. This is a big feature here. I say feature. This is a big tool for Brood War Zerg, is the fact that they don't have queens. I mean, they do have queens, but queens play a very different role. They are a hive tech unit instead in Brood War, so sunken colonies are that much more important to defend, to survive, as there are no early game queens. Meanwhile, more lings are amassing, plus 1 melee is on the way. Ling speed to just finish, and we're just massing up lings. They're going to bust out of the natural base. The cannons are finishing up. There's going to be 2 cannons, soon to be 3 cannons here, and 1 shield battery. What's important was the lings they just run past. They've run past the wall. Back at them, what do we have to defend? Nothing. We have a wall, but shield batteries have now just begun, and Boanan is looking quite exposed back at home. Adepts, they might be able to threaten the bases, but again, that is 3 sunken colonies ready here in the mineral line, or close enough. Adepts, they do try to avoid those sunken colonies. There are a handful of lings here to defend. They will get us around. Oh, yeah, they will shut down the first 2 adepts. Well, meanwhile, lings, they initially deal with the probe to make sure there's no cannon rush, and then that means that these cannons have time to finish. Uh-oh. I didn't quite notice. I thought the lings were rushing towards the main base, but no, that is not the case. As a result, shield battery is done, cannon is done as well. Bowenan is secured. It looks like GG Machine is coming back home and he's looking to try and break the natural base. But again, remember, there is an overcharge with that shield battery. There's 3 cannons. There's adepts. Glaives is not quite yet done. Looks like Bowenan is working towards Glaive adepts. And here we go. We're coming for the surround. Can we break this overcharge? His 12 cannons are being targeted by the shield battery. And yeah, Bowenan will hold. Lings, they cannot touch this position. Not with this kind of SimCity, not with the depths. We have more gateways on the way. The purpose of these gateways are to reduce surface area on the cannons, to make sure that Lings cannot touch this. Now, GG Machine has another expansion on the way. He does have a little lava to work with in his droning, but can he survive? I feel like I would love to see another sunken colony here, a little bit closer to the mineral line maybe, but at the same time, at any moment, Bowenan can divert his attention towards these ninja bases, as Bowenan did scout earlier and is aware. Gateways are finishing up. That's going to be a lot of Glaive Adepts. And again, they just melt Lings. GG Machine, oh, never mind. Doesn't quite have an overload across the map. He does have eyes on the main army, sees the constant adept warpins. The lair is almost done. With the lair, you can take it to Hydras, you can take it to Mutas and Aspire. Now the Evo's on the way. And adepts, yeah, they're headed towards the ninja base. They're making their way across. Meanwhile, the Overlord does spot this. GG Machine, he is aware that the adepts are gone, they're missing. And there's nothing here to defend. Oof. And nothing quite in position. The Lings are going to try and break out, but once again, we have a shield battery, we have an overcharge. Yeah, there's just nothing to protect these ninja bases. The lair as well is going to be exposed. And what can GG Machine do from here? Like, once again, like, how can he break out of this? There's no Banelings for Brood War Zerg. There's no Roaches. There's no Ravagers either. Those are the typical tools that an SC2 Zerg player would have to break out of this contain. Instead, okay, it's going to be Spire. Okay, it's going to be Mutatech here from GG Machine. I mean, Mutas, they can do nicely across the map in a way, but it's going to be a tough kind of breakout here for GG Machine. Again, he has no economy here on these fringe bases, no extra gases. The bases are going down to the adepts. With the lair finishing, technically he could try to go for something like a Nidus to reinforce and to defend, but alas, that's not going to be the case here for GG Machine. Going for another ninja, let's go. Drones are spotted. Again, these things can't really do much of anything at the natural. The only other way would have been to try and take into lurkers, to try to break out slowly over time. I think that probably would have been like the best option, the best choice for GG Machine. Like without Ravagers, without Banelings, I feel like lurkers would be the next best thing. But at this point, it's too late to take in that direction. Mutas are on the way. Bowenan has been on a pretty comfortable position here with 47 workers. With the 2 base economy, and here come the mass adepts, and honestly, I don't think there are enough Lings. Yeah, there are adepts and Archons as well. I mean, this is the ideal army you want against Lings. They melt. Mutas moving out across the map. Spine crawlers or I should say sunken colonies are holding their own. Mutas are rallying out, so GG Machine is going to do what he can, but again, there's cannons on the way. He can kill a lot of workers though. Yeah, they will deny mining in the main. Likewise, GG Machine does have a ninja base, but again, he just cannot engage this. The Lings, they come in from behind, they get a surround on one of the Archons. One Archon is going to fall, and nothing else. Oh no! Drones come back in, GG gets called, and Bowenan takes game number 1. GG, well played. Bowenan flexing his SC2 cannon rush skills, which is some of the best out there. I mean, there's a lot of dedicated cannon rushes, to be fair. Bowenan is one of the more known ones from the European region, and Bowenan does take the first game. But what about the rest of the series here? Bearing in mind that now Bowenan is going to be forced to play, most likely, Brood War Protoss instead. And cannon rushing can be a little bit different. Of course, there's no shield batteries, there's no overcharge either. So this would be a good opportunity for GG Machine to bounce back in the game, as he's going to be able to play his main race. we go. So we are going to be getting ready here for that second game. Just catching up with the chat. Yeah, that's as we did mention. I would imagine that the way for a Brood War Zerg player to break out of that kind of contain would have to be to head into Lurker Tech. I would imagine outside of maybe going for a Nidus, true. Like that would be the other option. Like going for a Nidus Worm to either evacuate or to counterattack. Outside of that, I feel like Lurkers would be the way to try to break out and regain control of your natural. It would be, I think, your only option. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And again, this time GG Machine is going to be rocking SC2 Zerg, and Bonan is going to be rocking Brood War Protoss. I'm sure it's still up to go for a cannon rush. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's still going to happen. Let's go. As we're going to be loading into Oceanborn, a map that we're a lot more familiar with, a lot more fond of, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the orange Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands representing Platinum Esports. It is Bonan. Leading the series 1-0, and spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the green Zerg player going for a 12 pull. It's going to be a short series from both sides. It is GG Machine. And before I forget, a shout out to iStan in the chat. iStan, Papi, thank you so much for subscribing for 21 months. That's a lot of months, Papi. Thank you so much for the support. Also, a shout out earlier to Dave Testa. Dave also did resubscribe, I believe, for 19 months as well. So thank you so much to the both of you for the support that we do get on the CranKy Ducklings. Thank you. We do appreciate the support. Welcome to the StarCraft Evolution League number 3. Hope you enjoy your time. Hope you enjoy the content, the casting. As you can imagine, another Forge. It's going to be a Gate Forge opener here for Bonan. Probe is moving out. Drone will scout, will confirm. GG Machine is aware, and Lings are already on the way. Remember, it was a 12 pool. So 12 pool by GG Machine. Lings are flooding out already. And Bonan, it's going to be on him to wall off and to survive. It's going to be less about cannon rushing aggressively and more about cannons defensively instead. He's going for the Nexus first. Bold move! Nexus before cannon. Lings are spotted. Lings are moving out across the map, but I believe we should have enough time to wall up and to get those cannons up and running. There we go. First cannons on the way. And I believe Bonan should be able to full wall. Yeah, there we go. Does go for the full wall. And with that, Bonan is looking pretty secure back at home. Has a full wall, has the natural base. And the Lings, they will be able to get us around on the Forge, but the cannon is almost done. The cannon is now finishing up. GG Machine has to back up, and behind this, GG Machine is droning. He's droning, taking gases. Now, on the one hand, I would say that Bonan is in a pretty decent position here, is able to, expand quite nicely and get into his game. On the other hand, at least GG Machine can get into his own game as well. At least he can, stabilize and settle into a more macro kind of back and forth. A setting that I would favor GG Machine in as the game progresses and as the game goes longer. I feel like GG Machine is going to be more favored. Bonan, his speciality is cheesing and cannon rushing. And outside of that kind of scenario, we'll see how he can perform. So I'm curious how Bonan can kind of keep up with GG Machine in a longer game. Citadel of Atune is on the way. Let's go. we are setting up. From the side of GG Machine, because he 12 pulled, it does mean that his gases are late and his link speed is later than normal as well. You can see he fully pulls out of links, or he fully pulls out of gas. Is just focusing on mineral production or mineral income, and his third. So GG Machine is macroing up. He does fan out his links. He's scouting for proxies. He's making sure that his opponent is stuck at home. I imagine we're rushing into charge. Yep, there we go. The Citadel is for charge to be researched. And this looks like the beginnings of a charge-based all-in. Now, the Overlord does confirm that there's no extra gateways in the main yet, but I would not be surprised if we throw down extra gateways. There we go. The Forge is being used. Bearing in mind there was a Forge opener because of the cannon rush, and now we have +1 very quickly on the way. So fast +1, fast charge. And do we get a gateway explosion, or does Boanan expand? Does reveal the pylon. The pylon is revealed, and it looks like he is actually expanding. Okay, very interesting. So we are rushing into +1 charge. Zealots and the Zealots are moving out. They walk across the map, very interesting. Oh my god, their dreadlocks are so long. They're so stiff. Looks like just a big tube out of the back of their head. But regardless, the Zealots are moving out across the map. And there is that third base. No extra gases, by the way, for Boanan, so just doubling down on mass charge load. The Zealots, they have arrived. Swiping away at the third. GG Machine back at home. Did go into Roaches. Has taken extra gases here at the natural, so 3 gases. Roach production. Queens are here as well, and the Zealots are going to be forced back. They're not really able to achieve too much. Spine Crawler on the way, so GG Machine taking this very seriously. Decent sidestepping, but GG Machine gets the surround. It will shut down the Zealots. They're going to be cleaned up. We have more Zealots on the way, but already Boanan losing a little momentum. And bearing in mind, he has no way to reinforce across the map. Boanan, he has to pull back. He bleeds out a lot of Zealots. That was how many Zealots? That was 5 Zealots going down. And GG Machine is held. From here, he can drone. Again, I feel like the Spine Crawler is a little bit of an overreaction. We'll see if he does cancel it. But regardless, he's settling into his lair. The lair is done. Roach speed is on the way. And GG Machine is getting into his 3-base economy. Meanwhile, back at home, extra gates. More gates are being thrown down. Now getting to +1 armor. It looks like Boanan is still not really taking in any other direction. He's also not taking any gases. That would be the big sign for Boanan. If he takes extra gases, then he might go into Archon production for Charged Archon. For now, though, only 2 gases. And even then, not even full saturation on the 2 gases. And purely Mass Zealot. Zealot's getting caught out. We do have Dragoon range on the way. Interesting. And Dragoon production has begun. But again, because of the minimal gases, we have pulled back in. Never mind, 3 and 3 in gas. So it looks like we are going into from Mass Zealot into Dragoons to at least support. And if we take extra gases, then most likely into Mass Dragoon production. A Mass Gateway composition. No kind of supportive units behind this. There's no Storm, there's no disruptors, there's no Reavers. I say that, there it is. Temple Archives now on the way. That should be for High Templar, for Archon production and Storm. Boanan rotating around, catching Overlords. Behind this GG Machine, he's at full 3-base saturation, getting a 4th for now just for Larva. And interesting choice here, GG Machine. I mean, he could just stick with, you know, Roach Ravager, even Link Bane Roach Ravager, but no, he's taking up in a very different direction into a Spire. Trying to catch Boanan off guard. We'll see if he can. First Dragoon gets caught out. How many times do I misspeak and say the SC2 variation of a unit? It's gonna happen more, let me tell you. You know what I mean. Nice kiting here for GG Machine, taking down the Zealots. Zealots are going down, but as I say that, they do trade actually quite well against the Roaches. The kiting is not there. Yeah, the lack of kiting means GG Machine, he bleeds out too much. He bleeds out far too much. Boanan gains momentum, pushing on forward. There was no kiting from the Roaches. Zealots, they were trading so well, so efficiently. Much more than they should have. And as a result, that was how many? That was 14 Roaches going down for mainly Zealot. And GG Machine, he's hurting. He's hurting, he's bleeding out a lot of Roaches. Expensive losses here for GG Machine. And here comes the Mass Dragoon. The Roaches trying to start a step forward. More Zealot reinforcements are coming in. Boanan kiting back. And he's gaining ground. He's gaining more ground, gaining momentum. GG Machine is in trouble. He has to race back. Behind this, going into Muta. And the Mutas, they can actually join up with the Roaches and try to clean up the Dragoons, or they can just get across the map and go for economic damage. Let's see what they go for. Oh my god, his Dragoons, they do so well actually against the Roaches. Yeah, they're going to be able to clean up every single Roach. Mutas are going for a counterattack, but back at home, there's nothing to defend. The 4th base is going to go down, and honestly, Boanan can keep going. He can try to keep pushing. But the Mutas are now revealed, and back at home, there's a cannon in position, but not much else. Cannons can be targeted down. No shield battery, no overcharge. And we're committed to the base trade. Yeah, we are committed. Bonan is going to lose the mineral line, but doesn't matter because he's going for the kill. At least he's trying to. A Spine Crawler coming into play. More roaches are amassing. Zealots are running out, and Bonan does not have enough. It's not enough to break through, especially not without Zealots. Bonan is kiting well, but behind this, those 14 workers, and the Mutas, they keep on going. Late reaction here for Bonan. Late cannons. There's one cannon at the third, but 19 probes fall. Bonan races back. And the main base is exposed. There's nothing in the main. The Mutas are wreaking havoc. 26-28, plus Mutas going down. GG gets called. GG Machine defends. He attacks. He takes game number 2. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. And I was honestly really concerned for GG Machine, considering he was bleeding out so many roaches while he was transitioning into Muta. I was really concerned that he wouldn't have enough to actually hold on to his bases, and he didn't hold on to the fourth, if you remember, but he was able to defend the third. He was able to barely hold on to the third base, was able to mass up enough roaches, and the Mutas was a risky gamble for GG Machine, but did work out well in the end, did wreak havoc, did pull Bonan apart. GG, well played. Was a risky maneuver, and now we're getting ready for the ace match, and we'll see how this story ends. We'll see where our players do take us. Getting ready for game 3. I'm not actually aware, I'm not familiar with the vetoes, so I'm not too certain what the third map is going to be. But we're gonna find out. Oh, okay. Wangali Beach. OGN edition. I don't think I've casted on this map. Is this a new map added to the map pool? Oh. My apologies. I did just realize, I think it is. I remember this map. I believe there was, yeah, I believe I've seen this in SE2. This was back in Heart of the Swarm. This is actually a reference to the infamous finals that was had over in Korea, on Wangali Beach, I believe. Where, God, who was it? Firebat? Was it Firebat that jumped into the ocean after his win? Oh my god. Blast from the past. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Wangali Beach. We have the OGN edition. We have the orange Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Bonan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, going for a 12 pool, we have the green Zerg player representing 3D Clan. It is GG Machine. I've never casted on this map, but I have watched games on this map. I will say that. So this is a very old SE2 map from Heart of the Swarm. I do remember this being in a season of, I think it was GSL and GSTL. Oh, let's go. The all kill. The Star League. But yeah, this is a reference to a real life event that occurred. There was an event that occurred at a beach essentially, and infamously, I think it was Firebat Hero, right? It was a Firebat Hero who won the tournament, and then he ran out onto the beach and jumped into the ocean as his ceremony. But before we can embrace the beach itself, we do have the Cannon Rush. Cannon Rush is upon us. Remember though, it was a 12 pool. The boys are being pulled as well. The drones are here, but the pylon is already done. This feels late. This feels like a late reaction from GG Machine. The pylon is already done. The cannon will finish. Lings have arrived, and they're going for the probes. But, yeah, I'm not so sure these drones can really get much done. You have workers chasing the probe back across the map. Cannons do finish up. The probe does fall, but, I mean, the damage has been done. Bonan, he does deny the expansion. Meanwhile, the second probe is being chased down. I mean, with both probes falling, that will spell an end to the Cannon Rush. So the Cannon Rush is denied, and Bonan will have to transition. There we go, Cannon back at home. GG Machine forced to expand elsewhere. We'll take the center expansion, not even the triangular third. But yeah, there's just so much to take in, and I appreciate that the game won't just end. the game will continue. Bonan moving out, who is scouting for any kind of, I imagine, setting up his own proxy or looking for another expansion. Again, bearing in mind, Bonan knows that he has denied the natural, and can he deny the backup expansion? Double Evo Chamber out of GG Machine. Double gas, oh my god. Rushing into 1-1, I imagine. Meanwhile, the probe has arrived, does scout the expansion, does scout the natural, and it looks like we're setting up for a backup cannon rush. GG Machine is scouting himself, though. There's actually a lot of rooks here. We have rooks at the ramp. We have some destructible towers as well to create a wall-off. But GG Machine does not have vision of his own expansion. The pylon is done, and the cannons are coming. And cannons are on the way. Does wall off with the gateway. Ling's gonna try to respond. We have Sunken Colonies back at home. But once again, it looks like this cannon should finish up. I mean, the pylon itself is under fire, true. Okay, 3 Lings can attack it at a time, not bad. Yeah, pylon is under fire. The pylon is gonna go down, just barely. Zealot has arrived, but not in time. But there's a backup pylon. Second pylon does finish, both cannons finish up as well, and the Lings are cleaned up. The base is under fire as well. The cannon rush is successful. Meanwhile, across the map, Adept gets into the main base. GG Machine, he is in a world of hurt. He's trying to get to 1-1 Speedlings. Bearing in mind, once again, GG Machine is the Brood War player. But alas, the expansion is going to be shut down. And trying to Ling Flood with 1 hatchery, bearing in mind, there's no queens for injects, and that means that macro hatches are that much more important and that much more impactful for Brood War Zerg. But he's down to 1 hatchery. Down to 1 hatchery, down to limited larva. Making as many Lings as possible. And back at home, we have a full wall. Twilight Council's on the way, second gateway, or I guess a first gateway. I guess 2. I guess a third. The gateways are still up and running, and Warp Gate can be researched. Or is researched even. Okay. Gateways are warping into Warp Gates. Glaives are on the way. And this is looking a little bit bleak here for GG Machine. Okay, he's going for the lair. Does finish up 1-1 and Ling speed. GG Machine, he gets us around. Oh my god. 1-1 Lings actually do quite well if they're able to get us around on the depths. Bonan taking his own expansion. Oh god. Going for his own, taking GG Machine's natural. I mean, it makes sense considering he has cannons to defend. It's either take the natural base or take the backup. Meanwhile, building plates. We haven't seen that in a while. Basically, that's a big version of what's here. Where you can walk over them, but they have to be destroyed to expand. GG Machine taking another expansion. Pretty weird. Again, because this map is mainly for aesthetic and less so balance, like it's such a weird expansion as well. Like the setup, regardless of depth, say shade into the main. You got 5 drone kills, 6 drones going down. Lings get across the map. They're making their way through the Cybercore. Where are the adepts? Cybercore's under fire. Only 1 cannon. No shield battery. And it looks like the Lings are busting on through, just barely. But there's not that many Lings. They get into the mineral line, forcing a recall. Adepts are recalled back home. Adepts will defend. And it looks like GG Machine, who just barely has anything left. He's down to 6 drones, down to 9 workers. Lair is done, but we're not going to be able to make use of it. Yeah, the Adepts, they're wreaking havoc. They just shut everything down. GG gets called, and Bonan will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Bonan will take it, will be successful with both of his cannon rushes. This is kind of, in a way, a factor to bear in mind, is that you do alternate back and forth, and because Bonan was able to play SC2 Protoss twice, was able to make use of his cannon rushing skills. And again, if the opposing player isn't too familiar with you know, early game defense and dealing with early game cheese, then it can be difficult to try to come up on the fly with an answer to that. We saw that GG Machine this time was able to at least deny I should say, was able to delay the first cannon rush. If you remember, it did kill both probes, but at the same time, the cannon still got up and the damage was still done. Boanan was able to deny the natural and was able to force a lot of lost mining time. So the initial cannon rush didn't end the game, but it was still relatively successful. On top of that, unfortunately, GG Machine didn't have an overlord over his second expansion. What does that mean? That means he did not scout the pylon and the second cannon rush at the second base. So because of that, GG Machine wasn't able to stop that. He lost his second expansion as well. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to, again, protect his follow-up and protect his economy, and in the end, Boanan did snowball out of control. But GG. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be heading over to the Americas server, and we're going to be following Boanan into his next series. Let's go. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Let's switch our scenes over and catch up on what has been going on. From the top, we have a lot of updates. The first round is wrapping up. We have Boanan taking down GG Machine 2-1, advancing on a face-off against 3-Point in the second round. That is our next series. Let me just quickly slip into some DMs and make sure I don't get left behind. So just mentioning the players. Looks like Rebellion took down Promi 2-0. Likewise, Ateshi got a walkover over Geralt, and we had Rebellion also take down Ateshi 2-0. Rebellion is already in the semifinals, speed running his way through the tournament. For those who do not know, Rebellion is a South Korean Protoss player, mainly an SC2 Protoss player, but he has been playing a lot of SC Evo. He has come up with his own builds. I mean, I say that, I think if I remember correctly, he was using a farmy build last week, or 2 weeks ago. Farmy also has been playing and competing, but Rebellion is waiting for the winner of 3-Point and Boanan. Scrolling down, we have Hon Mono takes down Plum T 2-1, advancing to face off against Nodicon in the next round. Nodicon takes down Full Heart 2-0. Full Heart is very similar to Boanan. Boanan is a European cannon rusher. Full Heart is an American cannon rusher. So kind of two sides of the same coin from different regions. In the end, though, Nodicon was able to take the series. Cannon rushing is more difficult to pull off against Terran. That was a PvT, not a PvZ, so that was a bit of a harder cannon rush to pull off against a Terran opponent. Instead, in the end, Nodicon did take it. Scrolling down, we have Mixu versus Mang Russell and Quanta versus Runoth. So the first round is, for the most part, wrapping up. There's still a couple of matches remaining, and again, we have our next series. We have our quarterfinals. It is going to be that PvZ. Now, I would say that 3-Point is the heavy favorite to win the entire tournament. 3-Point is a reigning champion, but he is not the reigning champion. Last edition, it was Shin, a very different kind of Zerg player. 3-Point was the runner-up. 3-Point came second place in StarCraft Evolution League number 2, and Shin came first. But Shin is not here this time. Shin is not here this week. So in the absence of Shin, that's where I would favor 3-Point. And it's going to be all about, can anyone stop 3-Point? For those who do not know, 3-Point is a South Korean Zerg player. Again, mainly an SE2 player, but has been playing a lot of the Evolution mod, and has been looking quite strong in this mod as well. Looking quite strong. Here we go. Just trying to catch up. Brutal Waste is just worse, to be honest. Take 5 minute break. All good, all good. I don't know if I'm willing to take the stance that they're worse. We have seen a lot of strength in the Brutal Races, but I do think there's a learning curve. I do think that there definitely is a learning curve to them. They're not quite, the same as their counterparts in SC2, and because I do think, I mentioned before, but I do think that early game cheese and early game aggression can be very successful because of that. Just because you're, especially if you're not playing SC Evo all the time, you're a little bit less familiar with that kind of defense. In saying that, that's also why I do think that 3-Point will have a much stronger showing this time. But best of luck to Boanan. I do think Boanan is going to be the underdog coming into this next series. We'll see if he can pull off the cannon rushes. We'll see. We shall see. What a map. SC plus beach equals winning. It was beautiful. I mean, honestly, it's a really cool map to see again. Again, like, it was before my time. I mean, the tournament was before my time. But when it was in the map pool, it was before my time as well. I mean, I would always, you know, watch GSTL on a weekly basis and GSL as well, but never able to cast on a map quite like that. So yeah, it was nice to see again. Nice to see. Something that I was just reminded of, though, very quickly, is the map pool. Now, I'm sure maybe Hyper1 can explain in the chat if he's lurking around, but the map pool has been updated. There are some maps like Oceanborn that is still constant. Oceanborn, Sylphid, and Polopoid. Paradox 2 as well, but it looks like a couple of maps have been switched around. We have Alcyone here, as well as Guangali Beach. We no longer have Golden Wall. Golden Wall was a part of the map pool. It looks like Golden Wall has been switched out. Likewise, Monty Hall, I think, is also a new map as well that wasn't here last week. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so Golden Wall was replaced by Guangali Beach, and it looks like Monty Hall replaced Retro. So it looks like one SE2 map and one Brood War map was kind of switched around, was replaced. I don't know the process in which they're kind of picking and choosing these maps. Again, maybe Hyper1 can give us, or can illuminate us a little bit on that, and can let us know. But regardless, we're jumping into our next series, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the orange Protoss player, the SE2 Protoss, representing Platinum Esports for the land of the Netherlands. It is Bona. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going for a 12 pool, we have the Brood War Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Team Hyper1 from South Korea. It is a 3-point. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your Gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets in the chat while you can for who you think will take the series. Forge has been thrown down. The cannon rush is upon us. Boanan has a reputation and can 3-point keep up. Pylon has already been placed down. Probe is slipping into the main. And we'll confirm we'll get eyes on the 12 pool. Now, we saw GG Machine respond with a 12 pool on Guangali Beach earlier in the ace match. Didn't quite go his way. The cannon rushes were still relatively successful. We'll see how successful they'll be this time. Ooh, that's 3-point. He does miss it. He does not scout, does not confirm. He's not aware of what's going on. The cannon rush is in full swing already, preemptively. And here we go. The Lings have arrived. And the setup is already revealed. 3-point, he can deny the second pylon at least. Yeah, it does force a cancel. Well, I mean, we're going to be canceling anyway. Cannons are slowly encroaching upon the expansion, and 3-point, ooh, he's a little bit indecisive. He's going across the map. Backup cannons on the way. And 3-point forced to take another expansion. And it does take a third. And we'll be forced to cancel the natural. You know, 3-point trying to knock on the front door. Again, does force a full wall. Is going to get some damage done, but not much more than that. And if you remember, we had a pretty similar scenario in the game we just casted with GG Machine. And I do think that a lot of this will come down to the fact that this time 3-point has Lings outside or on top of his expansion. And this time, this hatchery should be saved. Ooh, no cancel. Bold move. 3-point's gonna try and save that natural base. Lings, they dive in, they get on top of the cannon, they force a cancel. They get on top of the second cannon, and they force another cancel as well. Yeah, 2 cancellations, going for the third cannon. Decent service area, and they barely do get it. And now the Sun Colony is finishing up. Oh my god. Very impressive. Probe falls, the colony is up and running. That's a kill, no cancel on that pylon. Sorry, on that gate, sorry, on that cannon. Now the downside, oh, as we force another cancellation, The downside is that these sunken colonies cannot uproot. They cannot reposition, so it's kind of stuck here on location. There's still 2 cannons. There's still more cannons on the way. Zeld has arrived. This cannon rush is still not cleaned up, and the base, it looks like it will fall. In saying that, there is a backup expansion, and we have a lot of links to work with. And once again, another surround. Nice surface area on this cannon. Zealot goes down. Cannon as well. And this last cannon is out of range. So can we deny barely another expansion? Oh, sorry, another cannon. Bonan trying to keep this up and running. More cannons on the way. But last, we are just amassing more lings. Sunken colony getting in position. Slowly leapfrogging forward. And it looks like 3 point. It looks like he should be able to defend. Yeah, once again gets a surround and gets a stalker. Denies the cannons. And he's just buying time for the Sunken colony to finish up. Overlord taking some shots. Ooh. Overlord goes down. Not a bad pickup. 4 more cannons on the way. And it looks like the colony should be able to hold its own. Yeah, we'll get a kill. Gets the final cannon. And another. And again, these cannons aren't really threatening anything is the problem. They're not really threatening any of the expansions. I say that the Stalker, though. The Stalker going for the hatchery. Can he get it? The hatchery's getting low. Couple more shots. Can we save it? Hatchery getting so low, but alas, Lings, they don't quite get us around on the Stalker. They do zone it back. Oh, getting another shot off. The dance has begun. Oh, again, like 2 or 3 more shots will be enough. Instead, Lings, they go for the pylon. I believe that second pylon is keeping everything powered, though. Question mark? Ooh. Is keeping the cannon powered. One of us! One more! He gets it! He gets the expansion. The natural goes down. But was it worth it in the end? Because remember, 3 point is already on 2 bases. Does he really need that natural? GG gets called. 3 point defends the cannon rush, and 3 point will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, 3 point was very proactive when it came to dealing with those cannons. He made sure to never allow a third cannon to finish. At times, there were 2 cannons up and running, but there were almost never 3 cannons up and running. 3 point, he was able to make full use of that natural. It was actually very important when it comes to lava. He was making as many lings as possible. He avoided any kind of Evo chambers and upgrades, just mass ling, made sure the cannons did not finish. Sunken colonies did come into play as well. They were able to just zone away and just kind of create these areas where he was able to freely just expand and freely have control of. And GG, well played. 3 point takes a lead. And now the turns will table. Now 3 points can embrace SC2, and Boanan will have to embrace Brood War instead. Here we go. But again, that was a very intense defense from 3 point. Just never afraid to throw away lings to make sure that the cannons did not finish. To make sure that Boanan never really established kind of a foothold. Ooh, and we are going to be jumping into Guangali Beach once again. We go. Here we go. Our players are going to be kind of picking and choosing here. And a 3 point, he has chosen to stick with Brood War. So I misspoke earlier. So the way the rule set works is that each game, for game 1, game 2, game 3, they alternate, and the players, they pick if they want to play Brood War or SC2. And 3 he has chosen to remain as a Brood War Zerg. Oh boy. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Guangali Beach. We have the orange Protoss player from the Netherlands representing Platinum Esports. It is Boanan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, deciding to stick with the Brood War Zerg race, we have the red Zerg player from South Korea, representing Team Hyper 1. It is 3 Going for the 15-15? In a way, I mean, the drone is moving out across the map. Oh, they're having a stroll through the beach. Let's go. The 3 is moving out, looking to set up a proxy hatchery, I imagine. Likewise, Boanan setting up for his own cannon rush. The drone has arrived, and the hatchery is going to be thrown down in the main base of Boanan. Correct? No, never mind. Ooh. Okay. So it looks like 3 was just going for a drone scout and was setting up for potentially a proxy if he saw an opening. Instead, pulling the boys. Did you see the pylon under fire? Cannons on the way. A really nice position here for Boanan for that cannon. More boys being pulled. Does force a cancel on the pylon, but the cannon should finish. Up! But the gateway is going to be thrown down just in time. The gateway is placed. And 3 trying to save that drone. Cannon does complete. And you can see that 3 is zoning that probe away, making sure that there's no additional cannons, just the one. Just the one cannon. Spawning pool still in production. And that one cannon, it's being spent on the gas geyser. Drone comes back in. Yeah, the probe does right under the cannon. Ooh, and 3 he will get a kill. Oh my god, that was a kill, not a cancel. Sunken colonies on the way. That is a backup cannon. Jesus, that's going to be 4 colonies for 3 And they are within range of the pylon. Uh-oh. Colonies, they don't take long to morph in. And again, there's only one cannon. Sorry, there's only one pylon. Creep is everywhere else. If the pylon gets hardened down, I mean, that's going to be game. But now going for the cannons and the sun colonies, they should be able to take this. Lings have arrived. Zealot warps in. Yeah, first cannon goes down. Second cannon goes down. Zelda as well, and the pylon is within range. And that's a cleanup. Very impressive. So again, 3 he was just buying time for his own expansion to finish. He made use of all 6 drones that were left here. He morphed in a gas geyser and 4 sunken colonies, cleans everything up, and 3 defense. Now, on the one hand, yes, it was a costly defense. It did cost a lot of these sunken colonies, that is true. But at the same time, Boanan doesn't really have any tech. There's nothing. There's no gateway, there's no gases, no cyber core, no nothing back at home. Lings are moving out, and Boanan has to wall up. And can he wall up in time? Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be so close. Lings, they have... the wall's open! GG gets called, and 3 he busts through. Not enough money to wall off. Boanan barely did not have enough, and 3 will take the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, 3 will take the series. We'll advance on to the next round. My condolences to Boanan. Again, 3 having a very different reaction and very different response to the cannon rushes, specifically with Brood War Zerg. Even Boanan was surprised when 3 did not pick SE2 Zerg for the second game. Again, 3 is much more practiced, I should say. 3 is much more practiced. He's much more well rehearsed in kind of the art of Brood War Zerg in this mod, and did have not just a very different response to GG Machine, but 2 very different games as well. Game 1, you know, he fought hard. He fought hard to Game 1, he fought hard to link flood and make sure the cannons didn't get up and running. Here in Game 2, instead he went for a later spawning pool, but he went instead to buy time for the hatchery to finish, and he went for a mass sunken colony response within range of the pylon to be able to focus it down and make sure there was no other kind of sustain left over there for the cannon rush. GG. GG, well played. Very well done. GG, well played. See in the chat. I didn't know sun guns are this good. They're amazing. I mean, they have to be strong in a way because, as we mentioned before, you can't reposition them, right? Like spine crawlers. So once they get placed, they're kind of stuck where they are. So they are a lot stronger. They actually don't take long to morph in. I don't know the math, but I think a sunken colony might take less time than a spine crawler to morph in. So you saw like how quick that response was when he threw all of them down and they finished up so quickly to help defend against the cannon rush. It was, yeah, quite intense. GG. GG, well played. Also, share my papi, share. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be following 3 points into the semifinals. Following him into the semis, where he's going to be facing off against another Protoss player, but from Korea instead. It's going to be 3 Point versus Rebellion in the next round. Now, Rebellion has also been playing a lot of SC Evo. He has some very interesting 2-base all-ins as well, which we have been able to see, rushing into shuttles and rushing into Reaver drops, or even, I believe, he had a Dragoon-based all-in his set as well. If I remember correctly, Rebellion does have a build that was given to him by Farmy. Farmy is another Korean Protoss player. So, yeah, gonna be excited to see a more fleshed out ZVP, where in the last series, I mean, it was still fun, but again, it was very early game oriented. With Rebellion, we should be expanding and embracing a longer game instead. So a very different kind of ZVP. Oh, why am I listening to Plastic? Oh, my apologies. I do apologize, Bonan, if that's not the case. Sorry, I was just following what Wikipedia says. Apparently on Wikipedia, it's stating you as representing Platinum Esports. If that isn't the case, we can fix that. But let us know. Let us know. Let us know when you left. We can fix. Okay. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you. I'll try to fix up your Wikipedia page after the cast. After the cast, I'll make a note on my end about it. But thank you. There we go. You can hear the beeps, and we're jumping into the next game. We're jumping into our next series, into the semi-finals. Here we go. Here we go, and we're going to be loading into Polo Point. Looks like we have a bit of a bug. We'll have to remake. But both those, they spawn in, and I'm curious if that is... Okay, so we just loaded into a 4-player map, and I wonder if in the, settings of the map itself, it actually has an RNG chance to actually have both players spawn in the same location. Whereas that shouldn't be the case. So, Hyper 1, oh, the fake version. Oh. Okay. Wait, what's the fake and what's the real? Let us know so we can fix it. Wait, they might be loading into the same one. Which is real, which is fake? As we're being joined by other fellow casters. Fake one has a number 4 in it. So real one ends in TE. Okay. I mean, they the one that we spawned in on did end in T as well, and didn't have a 4 in it. No, that's a little bit concerning. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Okay, here we go. Here we go, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Polapoid, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Hyper 1. It is 3 points. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself. It is Rebellion. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your Gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Coming into this, as I mentioned before, 3 Point is still the favored player, but Rebellion can definitely hold his own. And I want to believe he can bring it to 3 Point here, as we are loading into a 4-player map. Now, very quickly, I got you. We'll fix this up. Go. Just fixing up the UI, and we do have a hatch first build here at a 3 point. Likewise, going for a drone scout. Oh, never mind, going for straight for his third. Rushing straight into his third expansion. This third is very interesting. It's actually very exposed in a way. Technically, it's on high ground. I believe this area is like a little hill with a point of elevation on both sides, but at the same time, still very wide open, still very exposed. Very interesting expansion choice here by 3 Point. Expanding towards the south. Overlords are moving out, and 3 Point still trying to get a read on where exactly Rebellion has spawned in. Bearing in mind, Rebellion did spawn in as the SC2 Protoss. Is going for a 2-gate opener. Very interesting. So it's going to be a gate, cyber, gate opener here by Rebellion. With this, his expansion is going to be later, but Rebellion has access to much earlier Adept Harass. The Probe Scout does confirm. Rebellion, he does get eyes on the hatchery setup. This is 4 hatch before pool. Jesus. Oh my god. 4 hatch before pool is wild. Very greedy. No gases. Late spawning pool here by 3 Point. And can Rebellion punish this? I think he can. Oh boy. Now, this isn't necessarily a standard build by 3 Point. I believe he only went for this because he was hoping that Rebellion would have a late scout. But Overlord does confirm both gateways are done and the Adepts are being chronoed. So it's going to be on 3 Point to defend. A pylon has been placed to make sure that the Rebellion, he can't full wall off. He cannot full wall. He has been denied. Adepts are on the way. And Rebellion is forcing a more awkward wall off, but there's still a wall nonetheless. This time, 2 more Evo chambers for the Zerg. Hatchery does complete. And Adepts, they do well against Lings, they do well against drones, but against buildings, less so. At 3 Point, he's getting away with it. Oh, where is he? The wall is denied. Adepts, they do tip into the natural. Lings are being shut down, boys being pulled away. Well, that's a lot of Lings to work with. That is a lot of Lings massing. Ooh, another drone goes down. So far, 1 drone kill. But alas, it looks like we have enough Lings to get us around and to shut down these Adepts. Nice positioning though. Getting another drone. Slipping into the main. Getting another drone kill. Getting 3. Oh, not quite getting a 4th. As it looks like the final Adept should be shut down eventually. Yeah, those Lings will clean it up. And 3 Point, he gets away with his opener. Again, 4 hatch before pool. Crazy. like actually crazy. But he gets away with it. So gases are now being taken. Sunken Colony is done. We have the Spore Colony as well, finishing up in the natural. And back across the map, what do we have as the follow-up tech here? Ooh, it's going to be a Robo and Charge. Very fast charge from Rebellion. Looks like he's setting up for a 2-base all-in. Stalk is in position within range of the shield battery. The natural is secure for Rebellion. 2 Adepts, they do make their way across the map. Oh, there's an Ursidon. They make their way into the mineral line. They get 1, they get 2 drone kills so far. Not bad. They get 2 workers. They shade into the natural. They bypass the Sunken Colony. Getting into the natural. More drones falling. 4 drone kills. Very nice damage. They shade into the main. Oh, they won't quite find any more damage though. Lings, they will be able to shut this down. And they will clean up the Adepts. But remember, this is merely wave 1. The first kind of phase here of aggression for Rebellion. He gets, I mean, what was that? 9 drone kills in total? Sorry, 7 drone kills in total. Behind this, throwing down more gases, getting into a 6-gate setup. Temple Archives on the way for Archon, so it's going to be a charged Archon 2-base all-in for Rebellion. And he should be secure back at home. Maybe I'm overestimating the power of the overcharge, but with the shield battery overcharge, we should be okay. I say that, that's a lot of Lings, they're going for the gateway. Yeah, the gateway is exposed, very nice service area for the Zerg. Gets a full surround, the gateway falls. Overcharge is popped, and we'll at least maintain the natural. More Lings are flooding from across the map. Prism has arrived. Zealot Sentry trying to go for the force field, but the Lings are split up. Up! It goes for the force field, but it doesn't really mean much here. There's just not enough Zealots. He goes for the warp in! Goes for the mass warp in. Ah, but the force field does run out, so it was a little bit wasted there. Force field is spent. Lings, they flood in. Sunken colonies are finishing up. Oh, I should say creep colonies are finishing up. Yeah, Lings get a surround, they do defend. More macro hatcheries. I mean, for those that are curious, macro hatcheries are quite necessary in Brood War just because there's no queens. There's no queens, there's no injections, so macro hatches are that much more impactful for the Brood War Zerg player. Another base being taken, getting a 4th. Taking extra gases, Lair is on the way. Typically we would see Ling Hydra from Zerg against Protoss, but we'll see if we head in that direction or if we head somewhere else. 4th base is denied. Rebellion is actually expanding, taking a bit of a later 3rd, and is taking into Archons and Storm. I assumed it was going to be a 2-base all-in from Rebellion, and I'm pretty sure he was hoping to deal more damage as well, but we saw that the aggression was denied, and Rebellion has to expand. I don't think his initial plan was to expand. Meanwhile, Zealots, they warp in, they trade very nicely against these Lings, at least against the first wave. Well, that's a kill! That's a kill, not a cancel! Let's pick off here from Rebellion. Mass Ling moving out across the map. Storm is just now finishing up. And what do we have to defend? We have a shield battery, we have an overcharge, an Archon. Soon to be some Storms. Lings, they threaten the natural. Rotate over. Archon is going to get surrounded. Oh, but alas, the warp ins the Zealots. They denied the surround. Very nice defense here by Rebellion. He does defend. He does clean up. With that Rebellion, he can now counterattack. He defended his 3rd base, no extra gases. Moving out now with how many High Templar? With 3. Soon to be 1 Storm each. So 3 Storms, 2 Archons, Mass Zealot. As the Protoss moves out, the Zerg is moving in. When the 3rd base is exposed. Lings, so they force an overcharge. Rebellion, he's pushing. Just Mass Ling to defend. No Hydras, no Lurkers. Uh-oh. Just Lings and Sunken Colonies. Yeah, Lings, they melt against this army. Lings are denied across the map, and 3-point, he's in trouble. Rebellion snowballing out of control. He breaks through the front lines, gets on top of the Sunken Colonies, takes down 2 of them. 2 of them do fall. There's still Storm behind this. Speaking of, yeah, zoning Storms on the Lings. That was it though. Those are all the Storms. Uh-oh. And does Rebellion have enough to keep going? Takes down a macro hatchery at least. Does actually rotate towards another expansion. Getting onto the 4th. Does force field behind this. Archons are trading well. Nice juggling here out of Rebellion. Yeah, very efficient trades here against the Lings. Breaks through the side defense. Gets on top of the expansion. Looks like the hatchery is going to fall. And again, Mass Ling against Chargel Archon. Like, this just shouldn't work. Nice surround though. Does catch some Zealots, but when it comes to the main army engagement, like I don't see Rebellion losing this fight. And 3-point, he knows it. Rebellion getting another expansion. Or getting another macro hatch, I should say. He does pull away, though. Doesn't keep going. Could he, though? I think he could. Like, honestly, you can make use of these hatcheries against the Zerg player and make you like try to use the terrain in SimCity against a 3-point. Blast Rebellion, he backs off, getting another expansion, waiting for more storms. I mean, that could be a big factor as well. Because he lost all of his High Templar, because there was no storm with the main army, he might not feel very confident. No! Hero! Lings, they flood in! The wall was not a wall, Lings, they bust into the natural. Probes are going down so fast as these are about to be cracklings. Adrenal just finished, +3 is on the way, and Lings, they wreak havoc. Yeah, in a blink of an eye, 16 probes go down, and we're not done! We get into the main! 24 probes, 20, oh my god! They die so quickly. 28 probes go down. And we still have Mass Ling. Here comes the main army. Soon to be 2 storms. Where's the War Prism? The main army's moving out. War Prism is in the main. Oh my god. Bold move for the War Prism not to be with the main army. Instead of the main base, going for a Zealot Archon Warp in. Denies the colonies. Massively counterattack. Bearing in mind, again, these Lings cannot fight head on. They have to avoid the Archons and avoid the main fight. They're going for the 3rd instead, or for the natural. Archons busting into the main. Main army pushing in between the bases as well, in between the natural and the 3rd. And there are so many sunken colonies here at the 3rd base, so we ignore it. Instead, Rebellion pushes into the natural. Meanwhile, Lings, they break the 3rd base. They break into the natural base. Lings, they're killing everything. We're going for a base trade. It's a full-on base trade at this point. And the Lings, they just kill buildings so quickly. Remember, these are 3/3 Lings. +3 and Adrenal as well. They're cracked, Fappy. Lings, they melt everything. You can see Lings just flooding across the map, killing every single building, forcing a recall. And Rebellion, he recalls back home. He's stuck in the main. He did not do enough damage. Rebellion down to 4 workers. The Queens have arrived. They get the Ensnare. For those that are curious, Ensnare is kind of like fungal. It's kind of like fungal growth. So they can slow down the Zealots. Drones are going down. Likewise, 3-point doesn't have the best economy. He's down to 26 drones, but he has an army. The Queens have to be careful. Oh, they do actually get shut down. Nice catch. Very nice catch by Rebellion. Does shut the Queens down. But he's all in. And there's nothing behind this. What you see is what you get. And honestly, I feel like we can fight. I feel like 3-point can engage, can surround, and clean up this army. Instead, he commits to the base trade. Going for a more secure win. Oh, there's storms! Oh my god. There's a full wall, there's High Templar, there's storm. Oh, but we're baiting out the storms. A handful of Lings at a time. And we have 2 storms left. Oh. Down to 1. 1 storm remaining. That was the final storm. And now we can flood in. There we go. The floodgates are open. 3-point floods into the main. Force the defensive warp in. No shield battery, no overcharge. Across the map, 3rd base does fall. But it looks like 3-point should be able to clean up everything in the main. And again, Rebellion was playing this out so well. Like, again, 3-point could never engage with the main army. He was losing fights, he was losing bases. So instead, base trade. Instead, forced into a base trade. Rebellion does save 2 workers. He needs to build it. Oh, he needs to, but he isn't able to. GG. And 3-point will win via elimination. GG. Wild game. GG, well played. 3-point will take the game, but that was very impressively done by Rebellion. In general, it felt like he was doing everything right. He was doing everything well. But there was that one moment. There was that one moment where Rebellion left his wall open, left his natural open, and Lings flooded in. What was it, 28 probe kills? Like 28 workers went down. It was insane damage that 3-point had dealt with that Ling run by. That was kind of the beginning of the end for Rebellion. On top of that, you could definitely argue that with the first move out, Rebellion could have kept going. He didn't have to come back home, but I do think that maybe he was just a little bit concerned about the lack of High Templar and lack of warp and the lack of storms to support his army, so he wasn't feeling too confident. You could argue that maybe he could have, if he had more confidence, he could have kept going, could have kept pushing. and might have been able to end the game then and there. Regardless, went for a later game, which I don't think was a bad call. I do think that, I mean, he was still in a better position going into a later game if only he was able to preserve his economy and able to, you know, deny the Ling run bys. Again, Rebellion doing his best hero impression, and it did kill him in the end. Smurge, back Smurge. Oh. With that GG well played, we are getting into game number 2. Getting into that second game, and now the roles have been reversed. Now we do have Rebellion picking the Brood War race, and 3-point is going to be forced to switch to SC2. We go. Here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkyone. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, rocking that Brood War Protoss race. It is Rebellion. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Red Zerg player, the SC2 Zerg, representing Team Hyper 1. It is 3-point. Shout out to Enki. El hermoso, papi, el hermoso. Enki is our lovely Spanish caster. Shout out to Dave Tesla, casting in English as well. I believe we have Top, aka Kiwian, casting in South Korean. And I believe we have Cyan, casting in Portuguese, in Brazilian, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Portuguese. As for now, we do have Rebellion going for a cannon rush. Okay, a Nexus into Forge. Very interesting. A very unique variation of cannon rush. It's an economic cannon rush. Bear that in mind. The probe moves out. We do have the pylon being thrown down in the main. And 3-point is opening up. Once again, it looks to be 4 hatch before pull. Oh no! But the wall off is denied. Just by accident even. The wall-off is denied, boys are being pulled, and the pylons are being shut down. Cannon rush is attempted, but yeah, the drones, they can head to the low ground. Cannon is on the way. Cannon's being targeted down. And this was just some unfortunate execution for Rebellion. The cannons are denied, and 3-point is fine. He's perfectly fine from here. This cannon should never finish. Yeah, plenty of workers in position. And, it's just, it's not looking too good, Bappy. Not looking too good. Again, the drones are on patrol. And from here, we can just freely drone up. Spawning pool is being thrown down. It was a 3 hatch before pool. Not 4 this time. But at this point, Rebellion has to transition back at home. Now, thankfully, as a reminder, this was an economic cannon rush. It was Nexus before Forge. So because of that, Rebellion, he can still head towards a longer game state, but this was a big investment. This is a big investment already. 161 minerals in the drain, as well as these 2 pylons and 200 more minerals. So this was he's he's going again, and 3-point doesn't see. No shot. No shot. We have cannons on the way. We have gateways as well. We have the delayed cannon rush, and 3-point, he did not shut down these pylons. Queens are on the way, Lings are on the way. Now the cannons are revealed. Spine crawlers being thrown down to respond. Now the spine crawlers are within range of the gateway. Bear that in mind. And soon the pylon as well. So yeah, the gateway is cancelled. And the cannons, they're within range of some of the patches. At least some of the mineral patches. It's a bit of an awkward moment where, I mean, they're denying mining on half of the natural, but they can just transfer over towards the third. And with the completion of the spine crawlers, yeah, only one spine crawler, and you can position yourself in such a way to be within range of the pylon, be out of range of the cannons, I believe. Yeah. So with this is going to be cleaned up, and this cannon rush, I appreciate the initiative of going for like a follow-up cannon rush, but it wasn't as successful. Oof, doesn't quite get any workers. And at the same time, 3-point is going for the gold. Is going for going for the gold expansion. Across the map, Rebellion taking his own third. Getting to +1, Dragoon production, cannons as well. And 3-point has cleaned this up. Behind this, going for a Bay, and Rebellion is rushing into Reavers. So it's going to be a Reaver response. For those who are maybe unfamiliar, Reavers are kind of like the Brood War variation of Disruptor, but they're quite different. Reavers, their shots do lock on. Scarab shots, they're quite intense because of that. But the Reaver itself is a lot less mobile, which is why usually they coincide with shuttles. So it's going to be a Reaver drop with shuttles. Shuttle speed is on the way, not to be confused with War Prison speed. Same thing though, in a way. And here comes the first Reaver. First Reaver is on the way. And Scarab shots are terrifying. They can pop off. They can pop off. Likewise, Scarabs are similar to Interceptors for carriers, where you have to actually build and pay for each individual Scarab, for each individual, like, shot. Bear that in mind as well. So it's very different to, you know, the Disruptor in that sense. And we have our first Reaver ready to move out. Shuttle speed is almost done. Charge on the way behind this, going into a gateway-based composition. And interesting, we're moving out only with a single Reaver. Just a singular Reaver drop towards the gold. Gold base is up. Drop is coming in. Oh, shot goes off. Getting 4 drones instantly. 4 drones go down. 6 drones go down. Ooh, and a shot on the lead. The shuttle gets very low, but does survive. Shuttle does live. Reaver getting a queen. Bearing in mind that unlike the War Prism, there's no kind of like pickup range. You have to be on top of the unit to pick up, like a medevac. So the shuttle is quite vulnerable, but so far so good. Getting Lings, a queen, 8 workers. Going for another queen. Up. Flush transfuse. Rebellion will get away. And behind this, getting into Storm. So it's going to be Storm, Archons to support alongside the Reaver. It's going to be a very complex army here for Rebellion. He's still kind of building up and still getting to the swing of things. Likewise, 3-point may have lost a little workers, but he had to, because look at 3-point's economy. 88 drones. That's insane. 88 workers for 3-point. He has been heavily droning, plus a gold base. His economy is booming, and 3-point will soon max out. Doesn't look like it, but now that he's reached 88 workers, now he can focus on army production. He can focus on Ling Hydra Lurker. As the Lurker den is on the way, I should say Hydra Lurker Viper even, as the Hive is on the way as well, is in production. So 3-point is about to reach his final form, and Rebellion is still building up. There's a lot of potential in Rebellion's army, but size-wise, he's still not quite there. He's taking a 4th as we speak, but honestly, Rebellion is going to be the defender. 3-point will have map control. And 3-point, I mean, his win condition can be just deny the 5th, and maybe even just lay siege upon the 4th. We'll see if Rebellion can turtle and defend and survive. Until he can be the one that breaks out. This move out it's a bold move. Lurker production is already underway. 4 lurkers on the way. Only 4 though. 3-point is yet to hit critical mass. He's not there yet. Rebellion will push, clearing up some creep. Reaver's behind this. Reaver shots going off. Storms on the Hydras. Oh, but the High Templar are exposed. Going for another storm. Reaver shots a little bit lackluster, but the storms are solid. But again, we're running out of storms. I think there's 1 storm left. The final storm gets thrown down. But the Hydras, they take the Storms to the face, and the Dragoons are breaking through. The Reavers are out of Scarabs, though. Yeah, the Reavers are out of Scarabs. Not much support behind this. Speaking of, shots getting into the mineral line, getting one drone. Yeah, the concave is real. We're getting on top of the army. We need another storm. Oh, the storm does connect. Oh my god. Hydras are melting. But it looks like there's just barely not enough of a gateway army to keep going. And again, the Scouts were on A move. Their shots weren't as impactful. Now they are. Taking down a lot of Hydras. Rebellion, he's holding his own. He's breaking through. And before 3-Point can really get into lurker production, these lurkers, I was wondering, I was like, where are the lurkers? They're harassing across the map. Crazy. Going for lurker drops. And without lurkers to defend, you can see the 3-Point, he's struggling. There we go. Lurkers are on the way. Archon rallies in. Yeah, we have 4 lurkers across the map. We have 1 for each mineral line. 1 of the lurkers went down. Yeah, Ling Hydra's flooding in. And 3-Point looks like with reinforcements, he will be able to clean this up. I say that. It's still quite close. Lurkers have arrived. Ooh. Lurkers tanking shots. Hydras, they stutter step forward. They take down the shuttle. A massive Reaver shot goes off. But it looks like we're running out of gateway units. And no more Reavers, no more Archons, no more High Templar. Just Dragoon Zealot left. And across the map, there's barely an economy. There's still so much denied mining time. Rebellion did take down the expansion. If only he had his workers actually mining across the map. And he races back home. Rebellion, he races back home. These lurker drops, they were worth it in the end. But that was still a very intense fight. And if it wasn't for these lurkers, maybe Rebellion could have kept going. He would have had, I mean, better production and better economy behind this. Lurkers are cleaned up. Nidus Swarm's on the way. Lurker upgrades are finishing. And now the main army is being refined with more lurkers. Again, 3-Point, he was at his weakest point in that fight when he was mid-transition. But now he's almost there. Almost. Lurkers are exposed. 3 of them getting caught out. Nice catch. 2 lurkers are denied. Oof. But where's the storm? High Templar are on the way. There's a lot of High Templar coming in. Filing on forward. As we saw as well, unlike in SE2, whenever a High Templar moves forward to storm, they're more exposed as there is no kind of War Prism to save them. So that's right down. There's no prism to like juggle back some of these high-tech units. Behind this, lurker count is building up. Ooh, and we have Drop-A-Lords on the way, going for a Doom Drop. 3-Point, calm down. Setting up for a mass lurker, even some Lings Doom Drop across the map. Meanwhile, we see Rebellion taking the gold. Now, 3-Point is maxed. He's maxed out. He's at 89 workers. Rebellion is still building up. His goal here is to defend. But can he? Does morph in the Dark Archon. Let's go. It's time to... What's the spell? Not Neural, but you know what I mean. It's time to make our own Zerg army. Kappa. We have Lurker Hydra towards the left. Pushing into the natural, pushing into the third. Ooh, Reaver is caught out, and a massive Doom Drop here in towards the main. And we do see Rebellion getting caught out. So many workers going down across the map even. Drones are falling to Storm Drops. I assume Storm Drops? Yeah. Was Storm Drop across the map, but lurkers are getting to the main, and they're going for the production. Yeah, the production is under fire. Rebellion trying to walk up the ramp into his own main base, into a mass amount of lurkers. Nidus Swarm finishes up as well. And this is the kill move that 3-Point was looking for. Lurker drop into Nidus. Storms are coming in. Storms are good. They do force a pickup. The lurkers go down, but Lings, they flood in. They flood in, they take down the High Templar, the Archons, the Dragoons. GG gets called, the main base is broken, and 3-Point takes game 2 and the series at 2-0. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. 3 points. We'll take the series 2-0. Again, it was a very close series in the end, very intense. I'll be honest, game 1 could have gone Rebellion's way. I would have favored Rebellion in game 1 as well. Game 1 was very intense. Even here in game 2 as well, Rebellion was holding his own. It was only because of the Lurker harass that Rebellion was forced back and his reinforcements were stifled as well. If it wasn't for that, then maybe Rebellion breaks through and maybe he overwhelms 3 point. In saying that, if it wasn't for the Lurker drops, there would have been defensive Lurkers back at home. True. The Lurkers that would have been defensive instead, and maybe would have been a different dynamic. Regardless, GG, well played. GG, well played. 3 points will take the series. Will advance on to the grand finals. But a shout out to Rebellion because he made a series out of this. It may have been a 2-0, but it was a very close 2-0. Very close series, very close games. GG. GG, well played. And now we're getting ready for the lower semis. We're getting ready for an age-old rivalry here between Honmono and Quanta. Two Korean Terran players. They kind of rose through the ranks in the same era of StarCraft. I'm referring to the COVID era of StarCraft 2020 onwards. And they're both here in the semis of the StarCraft, or of the SEL, of the StarCraft Evolution League, number 3. Let's go. Let us go. Catching up mind control. Yeah. I guess that's what it's called. Here we go. Here we go. We are setting up for our next series. Setting up for the lower semis. And now coming into this, if this was SE2, I would favor Honmono. I do think maybe in the past I would have favored Quanta, but currently Honmono is the more active player, and I would favor Honmono in an SE2 match. But in SE2 versus Brood War and SE Evo, here I'm less certain. I think I tentatively still kind of lean towards Honmono, but a lot of this will also depend on how much of this mod Quanta is playing, because if he's investing more time and investing more energy, then I mean, I can definitely see him winning here as well. I would not be surprised, regardless of how this goes, if this goes to the ace match. I do kind of consider these two closer in skill. But here we go. We're jumping into our next game and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1, living in the land of Japan. It is Honmono. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the red Terran, the Brood War Terran. It is Quanta. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck. Oh my god, his Honmono's going for a proxy. He's an animal. 2 SCVs for 2 Raxes. I mean, Honmono, he was able to cheese Shin out of a previous SEL, and now he's looking to do the same to Quanta. Again, Honmono is a very aggressive player. He has a reputation. I'm sure Quanta is aware of that, and Quanta is going for his own proxy as well. Problem though is that Honmono is going to hit first, as Quanta is going for 1 Rax at home, and he's setting up for a factory across the map. Gas has been taken. I'm curious. Do we go for the Rax or the factory? Do we look to float into the main? He's cooking, Pop. He's cooking. We're not going to be able to taste his food because I think he's going to die first. Yep, there we go. Factory across the map. I think the goal is to get into the main base and maybe proxy Vulture. But the problem is the Raxes are done. The problem is that proxy Reaper will hit first before whatever this is. Oh boy. And Reapers are quite mobile. Marines, they have a hard time keeping up with Reapers without Vultures to defend. this might just be a build order loss for Quanta. We don't get build order losses too often, but this might be the case here. Might be. There's a chance, I mean, we have 2 Marines. There's a chance if we can pull the boys in time, maybe we can deal and maybe we can shut down one of the Reapers initially. Meanwhile, Factory is floating into the main. I imagine going for the Vultures. Reapers, they bust in. And with good enough control, yeah, the Reapers, they should not die. Reapers are low, boys are being pulled. But there's only 1 Marine left. Soon to be another. Reapers are currently being forced out. Vulture production has begun. Quanta's still in this. Second Marine has arrived. Repair is going up. Where are the extra Reapers though? There we go. Additional Reapers have arrived. Across the map, the Vulture has made it, but the boys are being pulled to try to shut this down. And these Reapers are just snowballing out of control. Like, there's just not much that can be done against them. There's only 1 Marine being built at a time here. Marine falls, SCVs will fall as well. Across the map, there is a second Vulture, though. Okay. We're going for a base trade, in a sense. One of the Vultures is very low, though. It is very low. Nice kiting here by Quanta. Does kite away. Cyclones in production. Reapers across the map wreaking havoc. They will eventually kill every single SCV, and the Cyclone will shut down the Vultures, but how many SCVs will go down before the Cyclone arrives? Cyclone is halfway done. Every worker is going to die. Every single SCV is going to fall here, and then we can lift buildings. But I do still favor Honmono in a head-on fight, because the Cyclone is going to spawn in, the Reapers can race back home, and yeah, these Vultures, they're forced out. So Homeowner defends. I can't say the same for Quanta. Bearing in mind, Homeowner can mule. So Homeowner, he's muling. Quanta does not have mule available. Vultures are racing back. There's 1 SCV to repair. And it was a good effort, but again, like in this kind of... when these 2 builds face off, I do feel like it was just a build order win for Honmono. Unfortunately, we do have a machine shop finishing up. Not a tech lab. Going for spider mines. True. Okay. Okay. There is a world with spider mines. Bearing in mind, spider mines are an NG-based units in a way. Like, they don't cost resources. So, Quanta can actually win a fight with spider mines. Unironically. Okay. Unfortunately, the Cyclones are a different problem. Yeah. There's still a chance, though. There is still a chance for Quanta with spider mines. As he is up to how many Vultures? Up to 5 Vultures. He does have eyes on the Reapers. He can set up a trap. The problem, though, is dealing with this. Especially with a full wall. Like, honestly, Homeowner can just turtle on 1 base and just mass up an army and just win the game from there. If, again, if these Cyclones weren't here, then maybe Quanta could still win this game. I mean, technically, there is still a chance. If he can get Homeowner to chase him, then maybe as well. If Homeowner is overconfident, 1 Vulture already goes down. Like, the problem is that there's no reason for Homeowner to move out. Is no reason. You can see the Reapers are maneuvering around. Yeah, GG gets called. GG gets called. Homeowner takes game 1. It was a good effort by Quanta. I appreciate the ingenuity of going into spider mines at the end there, but as we saw, like, there was just no reason for Homeowner to move out. There was no reason to move out across the map. Unlike Quanta, Homeowner could also mule, so even though he lost all of his SCVs, he still has an economy. Brood War Terran does not have mules, so cannot really replace and macro back up as easily as SC2 Terran. So GG, well played. Interesting dynamic though, very interesting. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. Getting into game 2. And we'll see if Quanta can bounce back or if Homeowner can claim the series. Ooh. as Quanta is choosing to stick with Brood War. He's sticking with Brood War, and Honmono is playing SC2 Terran once again. Here we go, as we are getting into our second game. Going to be jumping into game 2, and we're going to be loading into Polar Point, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran rolling SC2 Terran, representing Team Hyper 1. It is Honmono. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Brood War Terran player, the red Terran representing himself. It is Quanta. We go. Now, very quickly here, we're loading into a 4-player spawn map. What does that mean? That means RNG. That means you do not know where your opponent is. They could be top right, top left, or bottom left. They could be at any corner of the map. There is no rule set. In SC2, especially in the later years of SC2, there were certain rule sets placed where, you know, for some maps it was only cross spawn and there was never like linear spawn locations for 4-player maps. That is not the case here. It is full RNG, full random. Because of that, that will impact the builds. It does make certain things more risky and certain things more safe. We do have CC first. CC first by Quanta off of 0 gases. We have Honmono going for a Rax expand, what looks to be an economic opener. We do have Quanta going for the SCV scout towards the north, is checking the northern expansion. Honmono has not gone for an SCV scout whatsoever yet. So no worker scout. Quanta will confirm that there is no Terran here in the top right. And we'll have to check top left and bottom left as well. Oh boy. So it's going to be a bit of a later scouts. First, we do see Quanta going for a very bio-heavy follow-up here, throwing down 3 Raxes at once. So it's going to be bio out of Quanta, not mech. Meanwhile, he's checking top left. Likewise, looks like Honmono did rally. Yeah, he's rallying his Reaper towards top left as well. So Quanta, through the process of elimination, he does now know that Honmono has spawned in bottom left. So Quanta, he's aware of where Honmono is. Honmono is not aware of where Quanta is, as Honmono is still scouting, still checking. He will find the SCV, and that could be a tell. SCV is shut down. Honmono might believe that the SCV was coming from a base. Will confirm there is no base though. There is no expansion. So Honmono is now checking top right. Quanta is aware, sending out an SCV. Interesting. I'm curious what the plan is going to be here. Just scouting to confirm, as Marines are amassing. Just getting to mass Marine. Honmono now knows where Quanta is. Now confirms his spawn location. SCV scout gets eyes on the production. Again, 2 gases. Rax into factory to starport. 111. And the Quanta is rushing into stim. From the side of Honmono, he has options. He can go into Banshees from here with a Tech Lab. For now, going for a Reactored Cyclone. Very safe opener. We have seen Brood War Terran players go into Mass Wraith and just go for like Mass Air. So again, just really safe start from Honmono, especially because he doesn't really know what's going on. Did get eyes on the bunker. Ooh, medic production here from Quanta. Let's go. Bearing in mind that unlike SC2, there are no add-ons for Brood War, so there's no reactor, there's no tech lab. Ooh, and Quanta going for a very strong stim timing. Stim is about to finish in 5 seconds. Quanta's moving out. As he moves out, the Cyclones are moving in. Uh-oh. Now, Honmono will miss the main army, and back at home, Honmono doesn't really have anything. He has 2 Cyclones. 2 Cyclones are about to spawn in to defend. The others, they get across the map. They do outrange the bunker. And here we go, Marines. They stim in. Nice kiting here with the Cyclones, though. They do pull away. SCVs are targeted down. 2 SCVs so far, getting up to 4. The Raven has arrived, throws down the auto turret, zones away the bio. Another sim. Oh my god, that's going to be 10 worker kills. Honestly, nice damage here by Quanta, but he's being cleaned up. Ooh, the Cyclone gets one. Gets one Cyclone. Meanwhile, the other two did race back, and it looks like Homeowner will clean this up. More reinforcements on the way. Quanta trying to get on top of the Cyclones, gets one more. There's two left. There's one left. Very nice kiting. Very nice stutter stepping by Quanta. Oh my god. Yeah, it takes down the Raven. Oh, the Raven barely survives. Barely gets away on 5 HP. But Quanta still has enough to maintain himself. Honestly, this 3-Rax is brutal. Like, I was just thinking that this hits earlier than normal, and it hits harder as well. There's a lot to go into, but for now, auto turret gets thrown down. Boys are being pulled. Homeowner will survive. He will survive. He will defend. So, I want to get into this. So, 3-Raxes exist in SE2, and they're seen very commonly against Protoss. They're sometimes kind of seen against Zerg off of a 2-Rax Reaper opener, but 3-Raxes, the difference is that in SE2, they hit hard, they hit fast, but there's no sustain, because there's no medevacs. With a 3-Rax, there's no factory, there's no starport, there's no medevac support. For Brood War, 3-Raxes are quite different because they do hit with support, they hit with medics, and because of that, you can stim so often. It was crazy how often Quanta could stim and sustain himself and deal damage. Like, that was insane. Quanta didn't kill Hormona, but he dealt so much damage. Can he survive the counterattack though? As we do see the Hormona is going into mech. It's going to be Mass Cyclone Hellion into Battle Mech. Third base being taken. But yeah, it was just really fascinating to see that kind of 3-Rax build coming to full fruition and how different it is to SC2 3-Raxes. It was really cool. Didn't quite kill Homeowner. I mean, if Homeowner had controlled any worse, any poorly, he would have lost every Cyclone, and that could have been game then and there. Like, it was thanks to the control of Homeowner that he was able to survive as well. Meanwhile, Siege mode is being researched. Very good way. This is back in the day when Siege, when tanks, they had to learn how to siege. They don't know how to do so off the bat. So it's halfway done. Both armies are posturing here in the center of the map, forcing out a stim. Oh, that is a lot of Ravens, though. That's 4 Ravens, 4 Honmono. A lot of auto turret potential. But Siege mode is just now finishing up. Now Quanta, he can bully back the army. Scans ahead of time, does get eyes on the third. Rallying across the map. Scanning once again, does get eyes on that one tank. Tank production has begun, and now Homeowner, he's zoned away. He's zoned away, and Quanta, he can go for the third. Yeah, Homeowner, he lifts. He has to lift, he has to get away. His third base is denied. Now, Homeowner does have Interference Matrix. He has Research disabled. Has researched. Can make use of it. Oh, disables are going to be a big deciding factor, actually. With this many Ravens, he can shut down every single tank. But there is enough bio here to support this army, so it's not quite simple. Even if he disables every single tank, I don't think he can kill all the tanks. It's gonna be close. As Quanta is just slowly suffocating Homeowner, takes down the gas geyser. Tank lines are facing off. Behind this, Quanta takes his own third, takes the economic advantage as he contains Homeowner. Homeowner going for Raven harass instead. Bold move. Ravens are moving out. They get eyes on the mineral line. They go for the auto turrets. They're going for the SCVs. SCVs have to pull away. Oh my god, he wants to go for the kill of the building. He's going for the CC. Oh my god, and auto turrets, they do so much damage. They killed the building. That's crazy. That's quite creative, actually. Okay. I was really curious about the positioning of the auto turrets, but yeah, they went for the building instead. And just like that, Quanta is down to 2 bases. Yo, we need to nerf, like, some auto turret building damage. That was insane. That command center melted. That was all off of energy as well. The Ravens are building energy back up once again. They can snipe another building. True. They could. Army steaming in, takes down the lib. Oh, but fighting within range of the tanks. Yeah, the Bio Army is struggling here. It does melt. Takes down at least the Cyclone Hellion. A couple of boys are pulled. 12 SCVs went down. And the Autotards are coming back in. They're looking for another expansion, another victim. And Quanta, does he pull back home? Yeah, the CC's under fire. Will be delayed. Army forces them in. Oof. Autotards are cleaned up. The base is not cancelled. Fun fact, this Bio Army is like 4 Marines and mass medic. Mainly medic here. Ooh, but Quanta, he's within range of the expansion. Ravens are turning back around. The Liberator has arrived, and Quanta's gonna be forced back. Getting a tank. Likewise, Homeowner trying to catch reinforcements. Yeah, the libs are something that Quanta can't really deal with. Once again, that Raven harass is so threatening. And for good reason as well. I mean, the Raven's coming from behind once again, going for the main. Yeah, headed for the mineral line. Up! SVs lining up! Oh, they do line up, and massive volleys go off. 5 SVs go down. They got 5 workers, auto turrets as well. And Homeowner, yeah, he takes control of the main. Gets 13 plus SCV kills. And this main army doesn't really achieve much. It's 14 workers, so even though Homeowner is stuck on 2 bases, his economy is still comparable to Quanta. If not better because of mules. Bear that in mind. Someone's asking in the chat, did SC2 have siege research ever? Yes, in Wings of Liberty. So back in 2010 to 2012, that was a thing in the first iteration, or the first expansion of SC2. Then they got rid of it in Heart of the Swarm. I believe it wasn't Heart of the Swarm. It might have been like a patch in Wings of Liberty, but I think it was Heart of the Swarm, if I remember correctly. As Ravens, they do manage to get away. Quanta now gets his third base up and running, is more secure. By a tank. And Homeowner is finally breaking free, finally expanding and taking his own third base. I say that, but did I speak too soon? Because here comes Quanta. This time with Ghosts. And we do lock down some of those tanks. Going for his own disables. But he can't really gain much ground. Again, there's still so many tanks. Can he stim in? Yeah, lockdown is lasting a long time. Third base is denied, but the tanks survive. Tanks do survive for Honmono. Slowly pushing forward. Spells are running out. Even though Quanta didn't kill any tanks, he at least denies the expansion. That's the real goal here. Stimming in, takes down the libs. Oof. Was a bit of a costly engagement. Homeowner checking for another base. Sorry, I should say Quanta checking for another base. As Quanta's being bullied back by the superior tank count. Disable another one of those libs, taking a 4th base behind this. But I don't think he can really stand his ground here. Yeah, he's being forced back. He's delaying the 3rd, but only for so long. Finally, Homeowner does take the base. Quanta backing up. Attempting to get within range. and is within range of the base itself. Shots going off. Hellion run by behind this, but there are tanks to defend. The SCVs are lining up and even forcing friendly fire. Oof. It's going to be 6 SCV kills. As finally Homeowner can expand and still has a pretty threatening force of tanks. How many tanks is that? That's 14 tanks! 14 tanks from Homeowner. Quanta rotating around, coming in from behind. He could try to get us around or even just bypass the main army and head towards the natural. He's looking for an opening. And the main army is spotted. Hellions get locked down. But Homeowner, again, with this massive mech army, he's holding his own, and I don't see a world where Quanta can push into this. Even with all those disables, with all those ghosts, like, it's going to be so difficult. Maybe trying to fight for control of the air, but there's already Viking Lib. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Quanta, especially now that Homeowner has a fresh mining base. Hellion run by is moving out. Quanta does miss it. Back at home. Ooh, that expansion is exposed. And Hellions, they sneak past. They're going for the mineral lines. And they're going to be able to roast it up. There's no escape for these SCVs. They're all alone. Yeah, the SCVs are trapped. And that's going to be so many worker kills. Oof. That's going to be 20 plus SCVs going down. A brutal loss here for Quanta. With 27, 28 SCVs. And just like that, Quanta's economy is crippled. Now has a lower worker count than Honmono. These Hellions are going to be cleaned up, but this was a cheap army for Honmono. He can't afford to lose it. That's just building up more tanks. Quanta down to 49 SCVs. But Quanta's at least denying the expansion, denying the 4th. Who even gets a kill? Not bad. Goes the CC. And while Liberator range is on the way, vehicle upgrades as well. Ooh, the main base is mined out for Honmono. Natural almost mined out as well. Honmono doesn't have the best economy, but still has a terrifying army. As if he's rallying into their deaths. I think this is a misrally from Quanta. Like, he's not close to maxing out, so some brutal losses there from the Red Terran. Yeah, it looks like he was meant to rally up here. Taking another base. An interesting Quanta going to Mass Wraith. So, as we mentioned before, I was curious if he was going to try to, like, how do you break this with air? Like, Sky Terran is the way to break Mass Tank. So getting into Mass Wraith makes sense, but he's behind when it comes to the air army. Like, there's already Viking Lib, so it's not going to be too easy to really get into this. So Homeowner just rotates, is taking another expansion. We'll get it. Thor production has begun for Homeowner. Again, more anti-air. Oh, and Quanta is a little bit too late to respond. This base will get up as well. Homeowner takes a fresh mining base. He's sitting in. He's crazy. I'm not sure he can. We get the mass lockdowns, the disables, but alas, there's so many tank volleys going off. Can Quanta break through? Takes down a good half of the tanks. And will get on top of the base. Does get on top of the CC. Doesn't break the main army, but does get the expansion. Whew. Okay. That's all he needed. Kill the base. Cripple the economy. And here comes the first Wraith. Let's go. BC production. Let's go. Battle cruisers on the way. Army Simeon. Yeah, the second half of tanks has arrived. Oh my god, but we do actually disable almost every single unit. Just one tank behind this. If it wasn't for that one tank, Homeowner would have lost everything. We needed one more ghost. One more lockdown. Meanwhile, here towards the north, Race are wreaking havoc. No missile turrets. No anti. It takes a while for the Race to kill anything, but they will. Eventually. SCVs are going down. Oh, this is a bit of an overextension. Oh, that was like 2 ghosts going down. But here come the BCs. Yeah, battle crews, they are operational. They're anti-air shots. As they do slowly pick away at the tanks. Vikings have arrived. They're within 1-shot range. They can be targeted down. There is a Thor as well on the ground. At least Homeowner has an expansion up and running, and now is being forced to go into mass Thor Viking. And behind this Quanta is taking more bases, more expansions, more bases. Quanta's economy is still booming. He can still remax, rebuild, and keep going. Still making 3 BCs at a time. Yamato is being researched. Yamato's not done yet, but it's on the way. And Homeowner going for a desperation Hellion run by. Quanta, he does keep up. Goes to the mass scans. Quanta looking for more expansions, looking for more bases. Making sure there's no ninja bases from Honmono. And again, there's no answer to mass BC. Not yet. Now, I'm curious, how many Yamatos can an SC2 Thor take? That's what I'm curious about. There's going to be a lot of Yamatos available. And I'm going to be favoring Quanta in the next fight. But we'll see. This is where, honestly, ghost production would be really good for Honmono. This is something that is no longer the case, but for those old school SC2 players, you would remember Yamato used to be an energy-based spell in SC2 as well, until recently. Like, it is based on energy, not off cooldown. So EMPs would actually be quite impactful, is what I'm saying, is what I'm trying to get at. So Ghost and EMP would actually be quite useful here to Honmono against those BCs. It was only in Legacy of the Void that battle cruisers in SC2 did change to no longer rely on energy. So relatively, it's still like a couple of years ago, but relatively recently, Yamato's going, oh my god, they 2-shot. Yamato's a 2-shot. GG gets called, and Quanta will tie up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A nice kind of cherry on top there to end the game with the BCs, with the Yamatos. And with that, Quanta forces the ace match. Let's go. The series will continue, and we're getting into game number 3. Oh my god. But yeah, I should have more faith in Quanta. Like, there were a couple of times there where he would just rush into tank lines and go for the mass lockdowns, and it would kind of work. I say kind of work. It wasn't the most efficient fights from Quanta, but because Quanta was up 2-3 bases, he could afford those trades, he could afford those losses. He would lose a lot of bio doing so, but, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, he can just throw wave after wave of bio and out-trade his opponent over time. It did eventually overwhelm Honmono. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, we're going to the ace match. We saw, if you maybe tune in halfway through, Honmono cheesed the hell out of Quanta in game 1. So Honmono, he won with aggression in game 1. Game 2, we had a longer macro game where Quanta was able to thrive. What do we have for us here in game 3? Do we have another proxy, or do we have another longer game? But I do appreciate that we have an ace match here, regardless. One way or another, one of these two players will make it into the grand finals. Who's it going to be? A spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkion, and we have the South Korean Terran player, the SC2 Terran. Representing Hyper 1, it is Honmono. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brood War Terran player, the red Terran representing himself. It is a Quanta. That was beautiful. Such a cool SC1 versus SC2. Personally, so far, we've only been casting like 3 or 4. Oh, he's proxying again. Homono is going proxy 2x Reaper. Same build that we saw in game 1. But personally, after casting like 4 or 5 of these tournaments, personally, I do like the dynamic most of mirror matchups. I love the dynamic of like SC of Brood War Terran versus SC2 Terran, of Brood War Protoss against SC2 Protoss, like same with Zerg as well. Personally, I feel like the mirror matchups are the most fascinating because they're so similar but yet so different as well, and it's in those differences that is like it's so interesting to kind of see their dynamic play out. So personally, I do like those the most so far when it comes to casting. I guess like it just piques my own interest, but regardless, we're calming things down and we should be setting up for the proxy Reapers. Now Quanta's going for an SCV scout. Now as a reminder, it's not quite clear cut game 1. If you remember, game 1 wasn't just Homono cheesed and then Quanta died. It was Homono cheesed and Quanta also went proxy factory, which was, it felt like a build order loss. Now Quanta with the SCV scout will confirm the Raxes are missing. He gets eyes on both gases, confirms the Raxes are nowhere to be found, and he should be respawning back at home. CC on the high ground, factories on the way. You can see the Marine here ready at the Reaper Cliff, and the bunker is, depot's on the way. No bunker yet. Ooh, Honmono doubling down. There's layers to this proxy. Initially 2x Reaper into 2x Marauder. Oh boy. Reapers have arrived. Gonna be able to lay the CC. Not the biggest pickoff, but damage nonetheless. Boys are being pulled, the Marines do survive. And so far, Quanta is holding, getting a Vulture. Marauder production has begun. Now with this factory, this can be for a Hellion to support, so Marauder Hellion, or we could head into like a Starport, into like a Medevac or a Liberator as well. I'm curious. But I'm pretty sure this should be Hellion, but we'll see. Oh, Cyclone even. Okay. Cyclone instead. Regardless, Homono is building up and he's working towards a concussive shell follow-up. And without a bunker, I am concerned for Quanta. Quanta, he's expanding! He doesn't know. He doesn't know how committed this is. He assumes it's still proxy 2x Reaper because of what happened in game 1. And without a bunker, this army is so fragile. Marauders, they can focus down the Vultures and everything else can crumble as well. Quanta's looking for the proxy, looking for the Raxes, trying to figure out what's going on. Vultures are moving out across the map, and here come the Marauders. They're about to reveal themselves. And Quanta is getting caught out. The other Marines, they're falling one after the other. Vultures are racing back home, but at this point it's too little too late. Vultures, they can't even touch this army. Yeah, bunker in the main, and no bunker for Quanta. And I was hoping for a longer game. I would love to have seen the mid-game between these two again. Alas, boys are being pulled for a surround. Vultures can be targeted by the Marauders. Yeah, the Vultures, they melt. And I don't see Quanta holding this. He has one tank on the high ground. He has one tank. And one Marine, 2 Marines even. But so many SCVs are falling. There's still 4 Marauders left over. The Cyclones are still on full HP. They take down a depot. They bust into the main. And Quanta, he got caught with his pants down. GG, good luck gets called. And Honmono will take the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Honmono. My condolences to Quanta. Quanta, again, because of what happened in game 1, which was proxy 2x Reaper, it looked like he just assumed. He just assumed that Honmono was going for the same build. As we saw, it was very different. It was a bit of a juke there from Honmono, where he reveals one thing and then he transitioned to something much more committed, and unfortunately Quanta was just unaware. Quanta just didn't know. If he was aware, he would have set up bunkers on the high ground, would have been just more fortified and more defensive in his main, would not have tried to expand and take the natural. Alas, just some lacking information there for Quanta, and was taken advantage of. GG, well played. Honmono advances on. does advance on. And this is very similar to SCL number 1. For those that were here for it, in StarCraft Evolution League number 1, Shin was the favorite player, and Shin got cheesed the hell out by Honmono in the quarterfinals, and that threw everything up in the air. Likewise, I think I would stand by favoring Quanta in like some longer macro games, but Honmono cheeses him out, makes it to the finals. GG, well played. GG, well played. Honmono will be our Terran representative in the grand finals. Let's go. Let us go. And we do need a moment to get the vetoes going and a setup for the best of 5. Do need a moment here, just catching up in the chat. Because there's no more mirror matchups. True, true. Shout out to Shora. Shout out. Good to see you, Pappy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good time. Welcome, welcome to the StarCraft Evolution League. Welcome to the grand finals as well. And we do have our 2 finalists. It's going to be 3-Point versus Honmono. Let's go. Of course, 3-Point being the Korean Zerg player, Honmono the Korean Terran player. Both on the same team. Both are good friends. Both are teammates. I would favor 3-Point coming into this, but I don't want to count Honmono out. As you saw, Honmono can be very tricky, can be very innovative, very creative, very aggressive. And again, if he can cheese Shin out of a tournament, he could do the same to 3-Point. Is what I will say. So I do want to believe this will be a back and forth and not a 3-0, but we'll see how this turns out. Shall see. Good to see you. Otherwise, again, I hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. Because of the best of 5, we're going to be seeing some of these other maps. Let's go. Okay, we have confirmation. Game 1 is Paradox, Game 2 is Monty Hall. I don't think we've actually seen Monty Hall yet. That's a map that has been avoided the entire night of StarCraft so far. So it's going to be Paradox into Monty Hall, into Oceanborn, Polopoid, and Alkyone. Oh god. And we're letting it. God. Here we go. Sorry. There's just some banter going on in the in-game chat. Players were just smudging a little bit. So what I'm referring to is that the map order is predetermined. So they're going to be forced to play on some of these unorthodox maps. And let's go! Game 1, Paradox. If you were here in the previous editions of this tournament, you would know how hyped this map is. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. What is Paradox, you might ask? Why are you so excited? Welcome, one and all. It's been a long time, at least in SC2, since we've seen an island map. Islands, Pappy. Let's go! Leads to very unique games. Very unique games. Every single week, the highlight of the tournament is always on Paradox. Always. Because it's wild, it's crazy, it's unorthodox. We're loading in and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Paradox. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Hyper 1. It is Honmono. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Red Zerg player, the Brood War Zerg, representing Team Hyper 1 as well. It is a 3-Point. And one moment, I'll set up the UI. Bam, there we go. We do have our 2 players, and welcome one and all. Also, before I forget, if you're in the chat, get your gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series, on who you think will advance on or will be this week's champion. As you can see here, you have a base right next to you with a high yield gas, guys. You have a third base as well, so you have a clean 3 bases on your main island, and then you have to, of course, nidus or drop elsewhere. There's an island here towards the left, another island on the right, another island, and another. There's 4 islands in the center. There is kind of this large landmass that connects them as well with high ground, so you can land here. You can try to harass from the high ground with siege tanks or with range-based units on the mineral line, or you can kind of approach this in a different way as well. Now, the last time we were here, Honmono went Mass Viking, and he actually won the game with it was crazy. He went Mass Viking. They can land, they can lift, it was wild. We saw that 3-Point was trying to go Scourge Hydra with Nidus Worms everywhere, and he was able, like, in the end, 3-Point took a lot of bases, but was having a hard time keeping up with just the Mass Viking was actually able to win fights head on. It was crazy, it was wild what Mass Viking did. Meanwhile, 3cc by Honmono. Again, you can afford to be hyper greedy on this map, but 3-Point is rushing into a lair. Oh, wait, what? So, very fast lair out of 3-Points. Cancels the Roach Warren. This looks like going to be replacing it instead. And this looks like a Nidus all-in. Like, there's no reason to rush into a lair this early on unless you mean to Nidus or drop a Lord. Yeah, you can see the Overlords getting in position. They're being very intentional with where they're being placed. Likewise, you can see the racks being floated and Honmono going double factory, going mech. Interesting. Last time we saw Honmono, he went mass starport, but that is 3 factories being thrown down at a time. Meching it up. Now, the Rax is looking for any stray overlords or scouting across the map. There's a Nidus Worm. Okay, all in. We're just going for the all in. We're not getting a longer game state this time. 3-Point is going to be all or nothing. Roaches are amassing, queens are on the way as well, and there is the Overlord in position towards the left. And Honmono has nothing. He has 0 fighting units, and he might even just go for add-ons here. Oh boy, Armory is on the way. I imagine soon to be add-ons. If there are no Cyclones, then Honmono is going to be... He's going for a 4th factory! Nothing! There's no units! 4th factory is on the way. Here comes the Nidus. And the game may just end. Yeah, the Nidus is on the way. There's 0 units here. Honmono, he has no vision of the entirety of the island, so he is just not privy to this. He has no idea. He has a scouting depot, but he's out of range. He's out of vision. Okay, Goliaths are on the way. But here comes the Nidus. Here comes the Queens, the Roaches. Goliath production has begun. But, of course, right, he can't go Viking because he's Brood War. My apologies. I just assumed he was SC2, but he's going Mass Goliath. And Wolves zone away the Roaches for now. Boys are being pulled. Can Honmono pull off a defense? And more Roaches are filing in. Well, the Nidus Worm is barely transfused in time. SCVs are going down. Across the map, we have the racks that are scattered. And Honmono, I mean, he does have a good amount of Goliaths, so can he hold on? He might be able to. He's up to how many? He's up to 6 Goliaths. As Spine Crawlers are repositioning, boys are being pulled on top of the Roaches. Queens are running out of transfuse. And we're trying to focus down those Spine Crawlers. Another Queen falls. Spine Crawlers do burrow. Get a very close defense here by Honmono. Goliaths are not really known for their anti-ground attack. And all the SCVs do fall. That's 22 SCVs going down. So many workers. And here the boys have been pulled. Let's go. The boys have arrived. Only 4 Roaches left. Uh-oh. I think Honmono's going to hold. If there's no economy behind this, then 3-Point is running out of steam. More Roaches are trickling in. It's getting so close here. The final SCVs are being pulled as well. Roaches are being cleaned up. We're down to 3 Roaches. 3 Roaches versus 3 Goliaths. 4 Goliaths even. And there's a 5th Goliath on the way. It looks like Honmono is holding. Takes down the Queen. Takes down the Overlord. Has an economy, which is more than I can say for 3-Point. He has 1 drone mining. 3-point, he can deny mining here at the third, but the Nidus falls. Nidus does fall, and Homeowner, he defends. He's going to bleed out a couple of Goliaths, but again, he can still maintain himself, and 3-point cannot. It was a wild all-in. I was almost certain that Homeowner was getting caught with his pants down. I mean, again, he had 0 units to defend, but Goliaths, they build quite fast. I'll be honest. They build quite quickly, and with the Masked Goliath, Homeowner, he holds, he defends. And now 3-point has to go back to mining. And now we're in kind of a weird game state. Because we're on islands, Homeowner can't counterattack. He cannot. He's stuck at home. So the game is going to settle for a moment, and 3-point can drone from here. The problem, though, is that Homeowner is on 3cc. He's on 3cc, he's making 3 SCVs at a time. And eventually, Homeowner is going to be able to get into dropships and, you know, drop across the map or, you know, tech up. Coming into a longer game state, Homeowner has a massive advantage. And 3-point has a lot of catching up to do. As all the 3-point can do for the next couple of minutes is drone. Just drone. I mean, the Rax even confirms everything. Confirms that his opponent's droning. Confirms that there's no crazy tech on the way. No, like, infestation pit into Swarm Host or anything like that. Swarm Host Nidus could actually be a decent, like, answer here, because Swarm Hosts are on NG-based units. They can build value over time, but it's just so far away. Like, it's gonna take so long to really get into. And Homeowner back at home, freely making SCVs, starports on the way. I imagine that will be for dropships. Rax confirms there is no third. But hey, it's just a really weird game state because, again, Homeowner can't, he just can't counterattack. he's just kind of stuck on his island. But he's being so efficient. Like, he's not making any units. He's only making SCVs. SCVs, 4 CC on the way. There's that dropship. Goliath is a good unit. I mean, cue like the Reddit threads of just the SC2 community wanting Goliaths instead of Thors. Like, that's been a debate for a long time about people being upset or wanting Goliaths instead of Thors in SC2. Feels bad, man. The rationale is they're more mobile, they're cheaper, you can mass them a lot easier as well, as opposed to Thors. Regardless, Hydrogen's on the way for 3 points, getting into Roach Hydra. Still stuck with a 2-base economy, getting into a third. Oh, we have Valkyries on the way. I don't think I've ever seen a Valkyrie in this mod yet. I don't think we've seen players embrace that, but let's go. They're ideal against air-based units. Goliath drop coming in. Well, we can micro the pickup. And Goliath, they start a step forward. They head into the mineral line as well. Only queens to defend. They catch an Overlord, going for another. Oof. Yeah, Homeowner, nice micro. Does save every single Goliath. Doesn't lose a single unit. Hunting for more Overlords, I'm sure. Getting a Roach. You have to be very careful though. Again, the dropship does not have boost like the medevac does. So one wrong move and you will lose everything. Homeowner has to pull away. Again, hunting for more Overlords. 4 CC now being taken. And he's just amassing up Goliath Valkyrie. Plus, Goliaths look awesome. I will say that Goliaths look a little bit better, in my opinion, in Brood War than they do here in SC2. But only because the Brood War Goliath has a bit of a different color palette. Right? It has like black accents on it, which make it stand out more, as opposed to here, which is just gray and blue. So color scheme wise, I feel like we could have done a little bit better here, SC2, like when it comes to coloring the Goliath, but regardless, we're settling in. Valkyries move out. They're hunting for Overlords. Oh, but there are Hydras to meet them. Oh! Oh, they get one. You get a Valkyrie. Just the initial one, though, as they're still hunting for more Overlords. Nidus Worm is done, so 3-point can take another expansion. 3-point is still attempting to stabilize. Because the high yield gases, like, it is actually possible to bounce back a little bit faster in this game. And 3-point, he is recovering. He's getting there. I will say that Homeowner still has map control and Homeowner still has the better economy. But 3-point, he's recovering over time. Needs a little bit more, though, to get his base up and running. And at least we have confirmation of our unit composition of choice. It's going to be Valkyrie, Goliath, with some science vessels to support as well. The downside, of course, is we need a lot of dropships. We need a lot of dropships to help actually, you know, send this army across the map. I actually wouldn't even be opposed to whole mono, instead of making factories here, or even building factories at home, and then floating them to the center of the map. Just so we can, like, reinforce a little bit faster instead. Another Nidus, 3-point, looking to take another expansion. Hydras have arrived. That's not a brutal, right? It's fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. This homeowner is gonna be dropping in. Does hit the nat, or does hit the island. Only a handful of Hydras here to defend. Oh, the Nidus Swarm does fall so quick. Yeah, and the mass Goliath will be able to overwhelm these Hydras. Hydras, they cannot hold their own, not against this many Goliaths. And the Hydras are cleaned up, Goliaths they overwhelm. And they will take down the expansion. Again, Hydra of Roach can't really hold its own against this. I do think that Lurkers would be an ideal kind of like supportive unit. But, alas, we're not quite there yet. 3-point, he can't afford Lurkers. He needs an expansion. Base is gonna fall. Nidus on the way. We do see 3-point, he does reinforce. He's gonna try to go for the fight. And with Queens of more Hydras, looks like he will finally overwhelm. Gets a dropship. But Homeowner does evacuate with most of his army. Almost getting another. Meanwhile, jump across the map. Takes down the Nidus Worm. God, you know what's crazy? You can fit 4 Goliaths in two dropships. That's crazy. Oh my god, you get, like, in my mind, like in SC2, you're limited to 2 Cyclones per medevac. Like, think about that. Like, it doesn't actually take that many dropships to doom drop like mass Goliath. That's crazy. It's like a clown car of Goliaths. They all just squish in. Really? Goliaths are like Transformers, and they squish themselves down? just so they can Tetris into the dropship? Meanwhile, Doom drop here towards the island base. There are Hydras patrolling. We have the high ground, though. Ooh. And mining is denied at the mineral line. Again, look at how many... Oh, Jesus. As the Nidus is denied. Doom drop into the main. And how much is there back at home to defend? Okay, we have a handful of Hydras. Jeez, but that's still so many Goliaths. They will overwhelm. Vipers have arrived. We have some blinding clouds. But that's a sea of Goliaths. And Homeowner, he's overwhelming the ground army. GG gets called, and Homeowner takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Homeowner will take the first game. We'll take a lead in the series. Bearing in mind, if you maybe tune in halfway through, this was all off of a failed Nidus all-in, and 3-point went down to, what was it, like 5 drones? Because he pulled the boys with it as well. So this was after a failed all-in where 3-point was trying to recover. He never quite did. 3-point was close, but wasn't quite able to keep up with the macro of Homeowner after losing so much in that failed Nidus all-in, and Homeowner did ever well. GG, well played. GG, Homeowner does take a lead. Now we're jumping into game number 2. here we go. We're going to be loading into Monty Hall, a map that we have not seen at all tonight. Monty Hall has been vetoed time and time again, and I've never casted on it. This is one of the newer maps in the map pool. For those that are curious, the map pool for this week's tournament has been updated and is different to last week's tournament. Last week we had Golden Wall. Last week we had another map as well that is slipping my mind. Retro, that's it. We had Retro, we had Golden Wall. This time they've been replaced by the beach map. I almost said Gaiman Beach. It was need to double check. Guangali Beach and Monty Hall. And I'm curious what this map looks like. This is an old Brood War map that has been ported over. Let's go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner. Oh, wait, proxy. Oh, actually, wait, what? Oh my god. Okay. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, a pseudo island map with many mineral walls all over the place that we are mining through. Okay, we are proxying. We do have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1. It is Han Mono. As he's going for a proxy, 3 racks, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player also sending out a drone across the map, rolling SC2 Zerg. It is 3 point. Okay, the SCVs have arrived, and it looks like we can actually mine through another patch. Yeah, the gold minerals are being mined through. Homono does slip in, going for the Raxes into the main, and 3 point he scouts. He sees, he knows. Spawning pool gets thrown down, he can pull the boys, and can these Raxes finish? I mean, with RNG, yeah, no, they can't finish. They cannot. The Overlord was in position to scout, and Homono has to think better of his proxy. So a better start for the Zerg. The hell just happened? But really interesting. So as we saw, the gold patches only take 1 worker to mine through, but we have these like blue mineral patches that take a lot more here. There are 30 minerals per patch, so it takes a lot more. Because of that, we have some very interesting choke points that are created. Homono expanding back at home is transitioning. Homono is behind off of the opener after the failed proxy, after the failed cheese, and it looks like we're not entirely certain that's the case. Okay, so 3 point is scouting. He's checking for another proxy. He doesn't believe that Homono is macroing. So he's scouting on the right-hand side. Scouting towards the left. But yeah, these kind of mineral wall setups are a lot more commonplace in Brood War. If you watch Brood War nowadays, I'm pretty sure there are modern Brood War maps that incorporate this as well. Ooh, we're going for a ninja. And okay, sorry, there's a lot to take in right now. So on the one hand, you have these mineral walls. On the other hand, you have 3 possible expansions right next to you. You have 3 bases right next to your main, so you can expand up to 4 bases quite freely here, to be honest. I mean, the terrain does mean it's a little bit harder to rotate between the bases. You have to go back home and then back out, but you have these 3 bases right next to you, and that also means that this ninja base is also right next to the main of Homono, and Homono is unaware. You can mine through this patch and just head right in. Like on the flip side, as I'm saying how there's like 3 possible expansions or like 4 bases, there's also 3 ways into your main. That is unheard of in SC2. 3 different paths into the main base is crazy. And the main has no high ground. Like there's no like ramp, there's no high ground advantage. So technically, if you mine through these patches, you have like multiple ways to bust into the main base to get on top of the production as well. Ooh, drone goes down. Is going to be a 2 racks opener here from Han Mono. Rushing into Stim, going Mass Marine. And again, it only takes 1 drone to mine through that patch. Lair is on the way. Alright, we're cooking, Pap. We're cooking. We're pulling the boys. Let's go. Boys are being pulled. They're being pulled to mine, of course, to mine through this base, to mine through the expansion. Now, this is an SC2 Zerg against Brood War Terran. So with a fast lair, we can head into Drop-A-Lord play. Swarm Host! I mean, that makes sense. I mean, because of the terrain, Swarm Hosts are ideal here. We talk about Swarm Hosts on Amphion in SC2, but Swarm Hosts here on this map are crazy. Because they're so safe. Because of how thin these walls are. And because of the SimCity, or because of the terrain itself, like, I mean, how do you punish? Spine Crawlers being thrown down. This is a very cool build here at a 3 point specifically for this map. And again, Homeowner still doesn't know. He's throwing down depots at every single mineral wall, which makes sense. And now he sees the creep. Now he knows. Now he knows what's going on. He has to deny this Spine Crawler. Marines are rotating. Queen is in position. Swarm hosts are on the way. And the depot is denied. And again, because this mineral wall is up and running, like how do you punish the swarm hosts? How? I don't think you can. Scan, oh, misses the tech. That was an unfortunate scan. Does miss the infestation pit. Swarm hosts have arrived. What do we go for? We're going for the army. 3 point is trading with the Marines. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Nice kiting. Only 3 Marines. Very nice cleanup here by Homeowner. But that Swarm Host count is getting higher. It's getting higher and higher. And the Locust Wave is going to be that much more devastating. Scan reveals the Swarm Host, the Spine Crawlers in the backline as well. And we can just keep going. This time headed towards the natural. Catching a medic. Oh. 3 Marines. Medic does survive. But gets into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. Getting 6 SCVs. I'll be honest, I kind of wish we had like maps like this in SC2. Like it's such there's so much going on with the map itself. And this is also why, as we do see the Marines are a little bit overstimmed, Spine Crawler hold its own, Marines go down, Locust Wave into natural. But this is also why, for those that are curious, the reason why the meta shifts so often in Brood, I say so often, still shifts in Brood War, even though Brood War doesn't get any patches, is because, I mean, at least the theory is that the map is balanced by maps. Like, there's just so much, there's so much more creativity, it feels, or there's so many less constraints on building maps, that maps in Brood War do often kind of dictate the meta and balance the game as well. And, I mean, with crazy stuff like this, like, you can definitely see that happening. It's insane. As the Locust Waves do continue. Because again, this kind of build will not be viable on another map. Like it's just, it's crazy. It also helps that Homeowner, you know, his initial opener was a rough one that he kind of failed the proxy and failed cheese. On top of that, didn't think to scouts because, I mean, why would he? Especially if Homeowner wasn't practiced on this map. Locust Wave trades with more Marines. Homeowner contained on 2 bases, has been unable to expand. Likewise, 3 point also on a 2 base economy, getting to +1 range. The Locust Wave coming in. Once again, stacking. Nice stim. Only bleeding out, what was that, like 3 or 4 Marines? Honestly, like, these trades haven't been too bad for Homeowner, as long as he maintains his economy. The problem, though, as he's scanning, looking for a 3rd, is just the efficiency here from 3 point has been crazy. Oh, gets some of the army. Late scan. Oh my god. Yeah, massive wave Marines and 2 medics go down as well. Turrets on the way. I do like the addition of the turrets, but they might be a little bit too late. We'll see if they can be denied. Medics likewise running out of energy. We've seen a lot of stims here out of Homeowner. Stims again. Oof. Getting a medic. High energy medic as well. Gets one of the turrets. Another Locust Wave on the way. They just keep on going in. As 3 point has staggered his waves into 2. Oof. Yeah, and he's overwhelming. He's overwhelming the army. Taking down so many Marines. And Homeowner just cannot keep up with these kind of trades, not with only a 2 base economy. Down to almost purely medic. And the waves, they just keep on going. They keep coming, but initially Homeowner was trading well, but you can see as the Swarm Host count gets higher and higher, the wave of Locusts become that much more unbearable here for Homeowner. They just become that much more overwhelming. And Homeowner just, he has no answer. Just mass marine, no starports, no factory. Oh, there is a factory, but no starports, no like counter drop play. They just keep going. And we haven't even seen, like, there's so much more going on in this map as well that we weren't able to really embrace, but I'm hoping we can see more of this map in future SELs. Like, the center of the map is just so wide open. It's crazy. There's just nothing here. We have these fringe bases that are also a little bit, they're also much more exposed. Which makes sense. If your initial 4-base setup is very safe, then of course the fringe bases are that much more exposed and that much more vulnerable. Do have more swarm hosts rallying in. And yet it feels like it's only a matter of time before Homeowner just runs out of steam. So we're going for the CC. Oh my god. Forcing a lift up. Base is saved. 12 more swarm hosts on the way. Just mass swarm hosts. Aye, aye, aye. I think it's impressive that Homeowner's been able to like hold on for as long as he has. And even sustain this production, actually. Like, he's still on 60 mineral patches here in the main. Well, I should say 8 patches in the main and 8 patches in the natural. His marine count is back up. He's up the locust wave. Yo, Homeowner, can he break out of this? I mean, breaking out is another question entirely, is the problem. 2-2 is on the way. Because of how narrow these areas are, these choke points. And if he ever does move out, he's going to lose the base. He's stuck at home. Now, if he can get into like mass starport, like Wraith production, then maybe. But oh my god, that's a little locust. The entire wave coming in at once. Homeowner does pull away. The locust wave goes for the expansion, goes for the SCVs. Oof. SCVs are going down. That's going to be 10 SCV kills. That is brutal. And again, Homeowner, he can't mine through these patches because of the spine crawler. I mean, he'd have to kill the spine crawler first. He is opening up the path on the right. Local save is coming in. Local save is on cooldown. Ah, but that was only half the swarm host. Homeowner, he goes for a counterattack. If he comes in from behind, there is a locust wave ready. Or does he go for the base trade? He's going for the base trade. Let's send it, Pappy. Send it. Did mine through some minerals. And there's no Nidus. There's no Nidus to come back home. Uh-oh. Here we go. Homeowner pushing forward. It's only 4 swarm hosts and 1 queen to defend. And now is send it, Pappy. Now is the time. CC's floating over. Now, filing through this area is quite awkward, but again, there's nothing to stop him. There's nothing to stop him. He can push in. Local save is revealed. And now is the time. Go for it, Pappy. Go for it. Oh, he's trying to mine through more, but it takes a long time. It's 30 patches or 30 minerals. Wait, does a marine not fit through? No, it has to. Is that only enough room for an SCV? I think it is, right? It's only enough room for an SCV. Oh. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. So, only enough room for an SCV, not for a marine. Ah, that's brutal. Sorry, I wasn't quite aware, but yeah, I do remember this is a feature. So you have to mine through the patch just to actually... The army can't get in! He's getting there, though. 3 more. 3 more rotations. Iron Festers are on the way. They can fungal. Oh my god, it's not going to be pretty. But fungals are available. The patch is about to break through. Massive... Oh my god! Massive fungal, the chain fungal, but 2 fungals are enough. Oh my god. Half the marines go down. Another fungal does connect, and we have another in the chamber. It does connect as well. GG gets called. And 3-point ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Let's go. We're going to game 3. Whew. We are going to game 3. Again, a wild map. A wild map. Let's go. We need more Monty Hall in our lives. We need more. Use the investment gas. Yeah. If you recall, that was something that was done. I mean, it's still done nowadays, but was done on Golden Wall, if you recall, where you create a gas geyser which destroys the minerals and replaces it with gas. Then you can mine minerals and destroys the gas. So you could just like infinitely mine through that wall with the gas geyser. It used to happen. It used to happen before on Golden Wall, and we've seen that happen in modern StarCraft 2 on Crimson Court. We've seen that on Crimson Court, where you mine through the left-hand side and you flood across the map by sneakily mining into the natural of your opponents. So, true. Does happen in modern StarCraft as well. Not brutal. Imba. Kappa. Why we don't have creative maps in SC2 tournaments. So for StarCraft 2, there are what's the best way of putting it? Guidelines, or there's certain rule sets that have to be followed in SC2. It's a lot more restrictive, is a better way of putting it. So map makers, whenever they create maps for SC2, there's a lot more restrictions around rush distances, around bases and base sizes as well. There's a lot of limitations when it comes to making a map in SC2 that gets accepted into kind of viable competitive play. What I will say is that those restrictions have been loosened over the years, and you could definitely see that in the most recent active ladder map pool in SC2. Like maps like Crimson Court and Amphion and Post-Youth are a lot more unorthodox. So they have been easing up on those restrictions recently, but it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time for that to happen. Meanwhile, let's dive in. Proxy hatch. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborns, we have our South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran for Hyper 1. It is Hon Mono. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Hyper 1, going for the hatch block, the proxy hatch. It is 3 points. Here we go. But yeah, that is the one downside. It isn't just that. It isn't just you know, the guidelines that are set in stone and stuff like that for SC2, as the proxies have been scattered, boys are being pulled. But another big factor for balancing SC2 is the sentry. There are certain units that kind of use a terrain in their own way, and because of the way that the sentry is designed, the sentry morphs and manipulates the terrain with force fields, and because of that, that also has to be like taken into consideration for balance purposes when it comes to how maps are made, because of how crazy good force fields can be if certain areas are too narrow, for example, stuff like that. Meanwhile, we do have the hatchery finishing up. Spine coolers are on the way, but the spine coolers should be denied. Well, I should say the sunken colony should be denied. Yes, if he's SCVs to get a full surround. 3 point with the constant cancels. He's crazy. Spine cooler gets shut down. Sun colony gets shut down. Lings are flooding in though. There's still that one Reaper and Marine. We have a backup colony on the way, but I don't know if we can really finish. Ooh, nice round. Marine goes down. Marine does fall. More Lings are on the way. Ooh, sunken colony is being morphed in as we speak. Ooh, Lings are cleaned up, and it looks like the colony will be denied just in time. Homeowner, he defends. Does force a cancel, and Homeowner should be able to hold on. Marines are amassing behind this, making one Marine at a time. Lings are flooding in. Getting 3 SCVs, but the hatchery is so low. Behind this 3 point did expand, is working towards link speed. Dancing with the army. Gets more SCVs. Almost gets the Reaper. The Reaper! Reaper goes down. Massive pickoff. Uh-oh. With the Reaper falling, Lings, they flood into the main. The wall is still open. There is no depot here. The creep is actually spreading up the high ground. As creep is actually longer here for Brood War hatcheries than SC2. Lings, they flood into the main. Marines are going down. It looks like 3 point. He's done it. He's broken the main base. GG! And 3 points. It takes a 2-1 lead. GG, well played. That is an interesting factor about proxy hatches from Brood War to versus SC2, because you can't spread creep in Brood War, because there are no queens and there are no active tumors. Because of that, the radius of creep around the Brood War hatchery is actually larger. Because of that, Mono couldn't wall off, because he could not wall the main with a depot like you usually would because of the creep from the hatchery. Very interesting. GG, well played. That is a unique kind of balance, or a unique feature between the two races. A difference, I should say, between SC2 and Brood War. And GG. GG, well played with that. In the end, the Ling Flood did overwhelm, just barely. Also, I should emphasize, Mono was being greedy. I should also emphasize, Mono, he went for a Rax expand. He did not have a second Rax or a factory on the way. Mono was making 1 Marine at a time to defend. To be fair, Mono could only afford that because he had pulled so many SCVs. So his economy was actually quite stifled because he had pulled so many workers to defend. So he had just very limited production, very limited defense. GG, well played. GG, well played. We're getting into our next game. But again, that's what I mean, like, these small, like, unique details of difference between the races, they do actually impact, like, builds and cheeses and even just the game in general. It's just, yeah, you have to approach it in a different way. Here we go, we're getting into our next game. Potentially the final game of the series, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Holopoid. We have the South Korean Terran, the blue Terran, representing Hyper 1. It is Mono. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Hyper 1. Leading the series 2-1. It is a 3 point. Here we go, 3 points. Now rocking the Brood War Zerg race. Mono rocking the SC2 Terran once again. And something very important about this map that I should emphasize once again is this is a 4-player map. It is a 4-player spawn, and you can spawn horizontally or diagonally as well, or vertically. Like, there's no rule set. In SE2, it would limit it, and there were certain maps where it was only cross spawn, for example, and never like linear spawn or horizontal spawn. Or they would limit things like that. On this map though, on Holopoid, anywhere you can spawn in any location. And as a result, we can see both overlords being sent out. We have our first overlord towards the top left, and we have the second overlord towards the bottom right. We do have a 3 point opening up hatch first. And Mono has still yet to move out with an SCV. So Mono just going for a Rax expand, economic opener by the Terran. And likewise, yeah, economic opener by the Zerg player as well. If you're curious, ooh, macro hatch already? Yes, in a macro game, in a standard game, Zerg players do require an earlier macro hatchery from the Brood War side of things, just because there's no queens. So to keep up with your economy, you need that macro hatchery for larva, just because there are no injects, of course, because of the lack of queens. So macro hatcheries are a lot more necessary and a lot more common in the game state in general here. For Brood War Zerg. Meanwhile, we do have our third hatchery now on the way. Lings are amassing. Ling speed is in production. And Mono is still trying to figure out what's going on. He does scout top left, and now he's checking top right. Now Mono is aware. Now he knows. Does scout, does confirm. Reaper dipping in, dancing with the initial army. The Reaper can be quite more effective here against Brood War Zerg, but does have to respect those Lings. Takes a couple of hits. More Lings are amassing. If Mono is not careful, Ling's going to spawn in behind him, so he has to respect it. We'll pull away. Ling speed is almost done. we even have a Ling across the map, denying some mining time here on the low ground. Going for the mule, doesn't quite get it, but does deny some mining nonetheless. Ooh, Reaper goes down. Oh, no, never mind, sorry. I thought the Reaper was surrounded, but the Reaper does hold its own. 3-point taking another expansion, getting up to, what, 4 hatcheries. Now, it's not like 3-point is going to be, like, saturating these bases very quickly, but again, does need these bases for larva. And eventually to saturate. So 3-point already getting up to 5 hatcheries. Across the map did confirm the economic opener. Double Evo chamber, double upgrades. Is still droning up. Getting a sunken colony at his 3rd, and in between his bases. And again, stack defense here is a little more commonplace for Brood War Zerg. Again, because of lack of queens, that's where spine crawlers or sunken colonies come into play. So they're being fanned out in between the bases. Hellions applying a bit of pressure. I would imagine that that our Zerg player here will go Ling Hydra, but we'll see. Melee upgrades are in production. We'll see if he does go Ling Hydra into Lurker, or if he has something else in store for us. He could just go Mass Ling into Ultra, true, into Hive Tech. Or like Mass Ling into Defiler. Meanwhile, back at home, it's going to be a 2-1-1 setup here by Honmono. And what does this mean? Winding it back a little bit here, is going to be going into a stim timing with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs. So a very aggressive, very active kind of build here by Honmono. Medevacs are on the way, and again, they're lined up with the completion of stim. So Honmono has been a little bit less active so far, but he's soon going to be aggressive on the map. Sorry, it was a 3cc 2-1-1 build. So very economic here by Honmono, taking his 3rd base. This is an SC2 build. Hasn't really been adapted or anything like that. Scanning across the map reveals the main, reveals the lair. And there's the Hydra Den. Now, as you can see here, Hydra Tech is actually Hatch Tech in Brood War, but you need the lair to morph in lurkers. So the lair is required to get into lurker tech still. So that is most likely on the horizon for 3-point. Honmono moving out with his Marines, of course. Moving out with 14 Marines. With Stim, Hellions are back at home to defend, and Honmono does hit the 4th, but the Spine Crawler, the Sun Colony, does finish up just in time. And the colony is done. And with that, 3-point will defend. Honmono dropping into the main. 3-point trying to keep up. Ooh, will bleed out some Lings. But for the most part, will maintain himself. Does force the pickup. Ooh, and you can see Lurkers being researched on the Hydra Den, but also a Spire is on the way as well. The Spire is behind the main, and Honmono has scouted. Honmono, he did barely scout the Spire, is aware of the potential Muta. Now, because 3-point got scattered, it's possible that he might only make mutas to harass. I'm referring to like 5 or 6 mutas at most. Otherwise, because he got scattered, he might just not make any mutas at all. Meanwhile, Spore colonies are done. We have the Spore here at the 4th in the main. We'll drop his code out. Oh! Bleeding out Marines. Late pickup. Yeah, a lot of Marines go down. Down to 8. You can see Honmono following this up with a bio tank push. Did bleed out a lot of Marines, but he does have quite a lot behind this. The army is spotted, and we have more colonies on the way. You can see we're trying to catch reinforcements. 3-point going for a big counterattack. Ooh, colonies are denied. Yeah, massive cancel. Honmono pushing in. Lings a race back home, and the base is going to fall. Lurker production has begun, but this first Lurker is going to be denied. Or at least not quite yet. Lurker will finish, then can be targeted down. Does escape. Lings it across the map, they get into the mineral line. Nice hold position micro. SCVs are also falling. 3-point taking another expansion. Lost 1, but it saved most of his workers. 8 SCVs going down across the map. And Honmono backs off, which I think is a wise choice because we have a line of lurkers. Lurkers did make it in time. 3-point being very patient. Didn't overextend. Didn't engage with the main army. Not yet. Now does put the army unsieged. Lurkers do Poru. One of the Hellbats will survive. And can Honmono deny the backup expansion? He does spot it. is rotating towards the south. 3-point trying to keep up. Yeah, looks like this hatchery is going to go down as well. Pretty good pickoffs here. Homono, he takes down the 4th and the backup 4th as well. Keeping 3-point on a 3-base economy. Scourger on the way. Okay, no mutas. Going to be Scourge instead. I mean, that is a way to deal with the Metamax. Scourge, the Banelings of the sky. Here at the 3rd is much more secure. We have Lurkers and Sunken Colonies. We do see 3-point double expanding. 3-point, he's in a rough position. He's behind. Even though 3-point has a lot of drones, he's long distance mining. He needs a 4th base desperately to keep up. As Homono takes his own 4th. So Homono is getting ahead in the economy. He still maintains map control. And he's looking for another 4th. He will find it. The Lurker can't quite engage. Homono dropping in. Finds the 5th. Tank will siege. Oh, and this 5th base is going to be cancelled. Queens are coming in for the ensnare. Oh! They do catch the Metamax. Yeah, do we have any Scourge coming in? Not quite. Wait, what happened? Looks like the Scourge in it. There are 2 of them. Yeah, they do slip in. Take down 1 Metamax. 1 Metamax goes down. The hive behind this is done. Again, for those that are curious, Queens, they basically have fungal. They can fungal units with their ensnare. The Lurkers get caught out. Nice pick up by Homono. Oh, Medevac will escape. Getting into the mineral line. We're getting 3 workers. Forcing response here from the Zerg player. Once again, doesn't snare the Medevac, shuts it down. And 3-point can now stabilize. Can look to stabilize. He's up to 90 workers. Is oversaturated, but is taking another base. And its composition is going to be Ling, Hydra, Lurker, Queen. So we have our initial queens. 3 queens so far. No Defiler mound. So no Defiler production. See Homono moving out. Now with Ghosts. Ghosts, of course, they're designed to counteract the Queen with EMPs. And Snipes. We'll see if he can. They're sniping the initial Lurkers. 2 Lurkers going down. Not bad. We do see 3-point setting up a surround, though. The Queens! He gets 2. 2 Queens go down. Massive pickoffs. Instead, 3-point going for a massive counterattack instead. Losing most of his Queens. Defiler's now on the way. My apologies, I did miss the Defiler mount, but did complete. And the mineral line is going to fall. Trading a base for a base. Homono gets 1. 3-point gets the other. Spine shots going off. Spine shots going off. Defilers have arrived. They can, of course, Dark Swarm. Ooh, Lings even catches them. Ghosts. Oh, they get 2. 2 Ghosts go down. Hellbat's morphing in to defend. Things they bust into the mineral line. They force back the entire army. It races back home. That's also why Hellbats are really important for Homono, because of the Dark Swarm. That's going to help against that. Here we go. We are moving out. Now this time with those Defilers. Was this Plague as well? Can Plague? Armor stepping in. Oh! Snipe going off initially on the Lurker. Oh, the Queen, the final Queen is going to fall. Massive pickup. Queen and the Scourge. No more ensnare. Oh, snipes the Defiler as well. 3-point, a little bit of sleep at the wheel here. Bleeding out a lot of spellcasters to those snipes. Homono rotating. Dipping between the bases. 3-point at least keeping 2 of those Defilers safe in the Dropper Lords. And is working towards a greater Spire. That can be for Guardians. Meanwhile, Ling drop into the main. Not bad. Another Ling run by as well. Lurkers in position. Lurkers are going to be completely shut down. Lurkers full. Blue Flame Hellbats are ready for this. Ling drop in the main is distracting Homeowner at least a little bit, but the Ling run by at the third base doing so much more. That's a lot of Lings. And catching Hellbats, taking down eBays, denying upgrades. And the main Terran army does not gain any ground. He's racing back home. That's 18 SCV kills. Oh, no Hellbat either. That was a Hellion. Unable to morph it in time. 2 more Ghosts going down. And the main armies will clash. Ooh. Nice snipes, though, on the Lurkers. Okay, Homeowner, he holds his own. The main army is still quite terrifying, but he loses 24 SCVs. Catching up more Scourge. We'll take down the northern expansions. Atri is going to go down. Mineral Line as well. Said 3 points, still just rebuilding more Defilers, more Lurkers. He's not feeling too confident about engaging head-on. And again, this Death Ball of an army is terrifying, especially against a Ling-heavy composition. Against a Ling-Lurker-heavy composition. Because Homeowner can snipe the Lurkers, the Hellbats deal with all the Lings. And that's why 3 point he's been avoiding the main fight. He cannot fight this head-on. He's been going for non-stop run-bys. Now he's going for the Planetary. Again, these are Cracklings, 3/3 Lings with Adrenal. Okay, they get a full surround. Home position micro takes down the Mineral Line. And every single SCV is going to fall. The base as well. Homeowner, he's down to a 2-base economy. The main base is mining out the natural as well. Barely any economy left. And here come the main fight. Up! The Ghosts! Ghosts getting caught out. Lurkers are late to burrow. Massive EMP! EMP does connect. We get the Plague on the main army though. Lurkers who burrow in time. Bit of a messy fight here for 3 points. But the Plague does so much damage. And the Lings, they come in for a surround. And that's going to be all we had left. GG gets called. We get the we get the final Dark Swarm. And 3 points will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's champion. GG. It was a bit of a messy end to the fight. There was a lot going on. But GG, well played. Again, for so long, Homeowner, he had a solid army. He had Bio, he had Hellbats, he had the Ghosts. We saw that 3 point just could not really engage with the main army for so long until he got his Defiler count up and running. But it was the Ling Runbys. Ling Runbys were the MVPs, whether it was Ling drops in the main, Ling Runby at the third, Ling Runby at the fourth. They were just snowballing out of control, and Homeowner had the bare minimum to defend. Not enough at home. He had like 1 or 2 bunkers at home, but no like Widow Mines, not enough Sim City either. In the end, Homeowner, he was just being crippled by those counterattacks, by those run-bys. Despite his main army looking so strong, he was never able to really deal critical damage. He was always just sniping fringe bases, never going in for the kill. Never quite going in. GG, well played. GG, well played. GG, well played. Congratulations to 3 points, as he will claim the series and will be this week's SCL champion. Congratulations. A shout out to Homeowner. Shout out to Homeowner for, of course, making it to the finals, making a series out of this. And we had some very interesting, very entertaining games. We had a wild game on Paradox with the Mass Goliath, where Homeowner popped off. We had the game on Monty Hall with the 2-base Swarm Host, which was very effective because of the map itself. And then we had some wild cheeses and even more longer macro games as well. Like this final game here was a lot of fun as well, even though Homeowner did lose. Like we saw like a really interesting like back and forth between Bio and Lurker, Ling, Defiler. Homeowner had his own strong moments as well, but did fall in the end. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time here in the StarCraft Evolution League. For those that are curious, this mod is available. I believe they're working on a ladder. Currently, I don't think there is a proper ladder or MMR system for SC Evo. It's something that's still kind of being worked upon. But regardless, it is a very fun kind of format, and as an SE2 caster, like, I do find it really refreshing. Like, it's always like just really fun. It's just really fun. It's just really fun to cast, really fun to watch. I will say though that currently SEL is, I think, the biggest and the only like regular tournament for this format. We have had some show matches in Korea. We have had like a couple of big events in Korea, but not as regular as this. And we'll see how the meta evolves over time. As the meta is shifting, the map pool is being updated as we speak as well, which also kind of shifts the scoreline and shifts things as well. But we'll see how the meta does kind of settle in the end, and yeah, we'll be here to document it at least. I shout out to Hybrid One as well, Hybrid One, who has been diligently porting maps from Brood War to SC Evo as well. It's been hard at work, quite dedicated, and of course one of the main sponsors of the tournament as well. A big shout out to Hybrid One. If you want to help support this tournament, I believe there is a command, !SC Evo. Is that? There we go. If you want to help support StarCraft Evolution, then you can do so via Patreon if you wish. That does help support the creators of the mod when it comes to, they do balance it, they do patch it, and they do put in a lot of work. So if you're interested, you can do so there. Otherwise, hope you all had a great time. Hope you all had a great time. Is South Region for structures identical for Brood War and SC2 Zerg factions? That's a good question. Is there a command for that? Ooh. Hold on. Oh, I believe there is a wiki for the SE Evo where you can find that at StarCraft Evolution Wikipedia. So I'm uncertain as of that fact. But there is a Wikipedia page which does detail a lot of the differences between them. We'll find it. Otherwise, hope you all had a great time. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. When it comes to the when it comes to our next broadcast here on the CranKy Ducklings, our next broadcast should be tomorrow in less than 24 hours. We're going to be casting the Sparkling Tuna Cup. That is going to be in, what, like 20-ish hours time? Oh, far less than that, actually. But yeah, it is going to be tomorrow, so if you're interested, again, it's going to be SE2. This is the only like StarCraft Evolution tournament that we cast. Everything else here on the channel is StarCraft 2, just as a heads up. And yeah, the next cast is going to be, let me just double check, in 15 hours. There we go. In 15 hours time, we're going to be live here. So I'm going to be getting some food. I'm probably going to stay up a little bit and then go to sleep, so I'm well rested for the tournament. But that is going to be the next cast here. Again, Sparkling Tuna Cup, it is an open tournament in SC2, open to all regions, open all shapes, all sizes, and we do often get a kind of amalgamation of Korean players and European players, and sometimes some American players as well. It's not the best time zone for the Americas, unfortunately, in 15 hours. Not the best time zone, not the best time slot for the Americas, but every now and then we get some passionate Latin American or North American players. We do always appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. You can support us via following on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. Also, before I forget, of course, let's get that going. Pay out those predictions. That information is not on our wiki. Oh, I see. Notably, Brood War structures do not take damage off of creep. Interesting fun fact. There you go. But otherwise, thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in. Again, you can follow us on all the social medias. Where's the command? There we go. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. You can also support us on Patreon as well, as our Patreon does fund our tournaments like Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So you can join us on Patreon. You can get replay packs. You can get benefits for supporting on Patreon, and of course you get the benefit of helping out the CranKy Ducklings. Otherwise, we'll be heading off. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft action. Starting from tomorrow is kind of the marathon of casting. It's going to be Sparkling Tuna Cup, into Tenacious Total Tussle, into the Wadi TV Monday, into the Ursasaurus Cup. So 4 events back to back to back to back. It's a very intense period, kind of Sunday leading into Monday, leading into Tuesday. Very intense period of StarCraft. A lot of tournaments back to back. So see you then for that kind of marathon of open cups. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.